Hello. It's time for Petonia. The one of the factions that I feel like are a very strong faction that I kinda need to learn more. They're in my top 6 of factions I feel like should be in my Total Tavern Grand Finals playlist. That being Slanesh, Norska, Ogres, Wood Elves, Betonia, and Empire. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. Did I see a message about mass trebuchets? Yeah. Betonia all the way with rank 9 trebs. The treb spam, truly terrifying. Yeah, not today. We're gonna be trying out Lance Formation. I played a game as Skaven against some Lance Formation shenanigans. It was pretty scary. No Kislev? Yeah, no Kislev. Kislev's actually in my tier 3 factions. So my S tier, for me, I want to be Slanesh, Norska, Ogres, Wood Elves, Betonia, Empire. A tier is Vampire Coast, Vampire Counts, High Elves, and Beastmen. And B tier is Grand Cathay, Kislev, Tomb Kings, and Tzeentch. I don't think we can, yeah. I don't think we can do much better. Holy signups, bro. Suddenly there's a million signups. Dang. Goblins, round 1. And we're up against Stallion, alright. So once again, I want to try and get a 100% win rate today. We did not achieve that with Empire yesterday, losing to Charix's Wood Elves, but I did actually set up a best of 9 against them on Saturday, same day that turn is resetting the ladder. Pretty hype. Trebuchets overperform in general. Trebuchets, this thing? There's no way this thing's better than a mortar. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Are you running our Boreal Barrack? Most likely. There's like, what? Is the Fey Enchantress good? She has the Chalice of Potions. She can be pretty cheap. Not Gelt levels of cheap, though. Not Gelt levels. Oh, and he's Coast. How wondrous. So, Vampire Coast. Interesting. Are the stats actually better? So for Lance Formation, the biggest thing is you get a 30% mass increase. So against low mass units, it's quite good. That's what we're gonna be trying today. Wrong army blocker, classic. There we go. Evening, Decay, what's up? All that. So, Vampire Coast. This is kind of an awkward matchup. It's kind of an awkward matchup. This Coast has a lot of halberds, but yeah. You're playing against Charix round 1. Is he still playing Wood Elves today? How much is he training? I gotta keep an eye on this guy. Okay, he's playing Lizardman. All right. Ooh. Lost Temple of Sotek or Celestial? Let's play Celestial. Lost Temple's just a really good map for Coast, I feel. Celestial Lake versus the Coast. Oh boy. So Vampire Coast has a stupendous amount of infantry. truly an absurd amount of infantry that we gotta kill. That'll be a mild issue, I think. But I have a plan. We have a plan. Magic-wise, it's probably gonna be healing. Unless we want to do some sick wind blast shenanigans, but healing's just solid. Now they like their Morn goals, right? This might be a matchup where Royal Pegasus Knights are actually quite good. Just to like snippet snipe Morn goals. We'll see. I definitely have a lot to learn when it comes to good old Betonia. So Lizardman is kind of sus. Tark likes to play the Salamander playstyle, so maybe I can aggress him, force him forwards with the trebuchets. Who knows? I don't know, man. He's gonna be the raid boss today, though. Let's see here. Vampire Coast. The big issue here is definitely the Crabos, right? The crabs are a little bit of a problem because I don't really have a lot of stuff that can kill them. Yes, we have a few Grail Knights, but that's basically it. Or what if I like swarm them with halberds? Does anyone think Men-at-Arm polearms can actually kill the gun crabs? I would say probably not, but you never know. Battle Pilgrims can also be an okay tool here. There's definitely a lot of things that are decent. Yeah, this seems like it's an okay build. I'm not gonna overthink it too much. Let's just get into this. We have a lot of learning to do. Bretonia is a relatively straightforward faction. But yeah, I don't know if they're in like... They feel like they should be in my S tier of factions, just because of how versatile they are. Kind of like Empire, but I'm just not nearly as practiced with them. Would they ever catch the gun crabs? For gun crabs, they're pretty slow, so you can use your pole arms to get them. They're usually trying to defend a position. So generally, I see them as catchable by infantry. Peasants only wind farming. Correct wind. What's up? Ison Raider. Hello, hello. Double Leviathan. No, we do see some double Leviathan action. Coast is pretty scary. I got a strat though. This'll be sick. I have 2 solutions in my build to Crabos. I have many solutions to Morn goals. It should be alright, I think. Anyone know how much mass Vampire Coast infantry has? I feel like cav charges have to be at least decent versus them. But I guess we'll see. Yeah, anyone else excited for the Total Tavern new season? I feel like that'd be sick. All right. Does it entail a new meta? Then yeah, hyped. I guess like, you know, with the update coming relatively soon. Unless this new season is gonna be like the DLC is so postponed, he's planning to have a whole thing. You know, all the bells and whistles. He's like, yeah, it's gonna be a 3-month season. Hey Thomas, Welcome to the crew. Holy crap, Fleet Admiral tier. Yo, I gotta edit this thing then. Thank you so much. Holy crap, man. Thomas Vitek. Thank you so much. Holy crap. Hello. You now will get shoutouts at the end of streams. Hell yeah. Things to learn. Number 1, don't throw Lord. Number 2, overconfidence in the mid game is a killer. Yes. Yep. I'm just happy that Lizardman win rate can maybe be better than 40%. I think the way Charx plays Lizardmen, they're quite scary. He makes his salamanders super hard to catch. You kind of need a faction that can force the Lizardmen forwards. You'd rather let them cook? Yeah, I think it's better for CA to cook and to get a good patch out. I'm still really worried that they're not going to fix a lot of the issues that I've been having my eye on. There's a few things. So my big list, right? And I've been sending them as much info as I can. But for my scene, the big things are ranged and general unit control issues. So ranged jank should be fixed. Flying unit jank should be fixed. Chasing mechanics, a little bit lower, but I think chasing mechanics falls into that clump of unit control. The next thing is meta. Nurgle and Skaven need love. The other factions are actually pretty good, but Nurgle and Skaven, they definitely need love. We have what's it? Spells. I think spells could use a big rework. And general UI issues. So like we're talking you know, mostly spectator stuff. I think it's crazy that you can't see your opponent you know, both sides Winds of Magic in the spectator. And I think it's crazy that the value tracker is so off. I would be happy if they did one of those. If they got one of those if they got 25%, I'm like, holy crap, that's hype. If they do 2, I'm like, jeez, blowing my mind. Yeah, nerf Flaming Sword, obviously. But yeah, if they get 2 of those, it's blowing my mind. But yeah, I'm still really worried. Honestly, the anxiety is making me just really want them to get any patch out just so I can finally see if they've implemented anything. Because they don't tell me if they've implemented anything. Probably because they're not allowed to talk about stuff in the patch. But it leaves me stressing. Anyways, I'm cav maxing. Against my better judgment, I've decided to bring 2 trebuchets. Now, what would cause a man to go for such reckless trebucheting? The fact that gun crabs exist. I think they're the biggest problem in this matchup. I actually don't have archers, which is kind of crazy. But I'm thinking my cavalry can probably kill his infantry. Will you, in fact, be using lance formation? I will. Not right away, though. Actually, it does change their acceleration. You know what? Let's use lance formation right now from the get-go. Apparently, their acceleration will be better. The only downside is to get -8 melee defense. And the formation's a little weird, so they don't hit all at the same time. But the idea is that little bit of mass increase will make it where my cavalry can just blitz through his infantry, and I don't need archer spam for it. That's the idea, though. And hopefully the trebuchets can kill the crabos. They'll also give a leadership debuff, which is kind of nice, but Mostly we're gonna use them to try and kill crabs. Alright, here we go. A carronade. 2 carronades. Okay, lance formation's kind of bad for carronades. Yeah, we're gonna turn off lance formation for a second here. Because I don't want to get blasted by cannons. Alberic is drawing a little bit of fire. That's okay, I guess. And then we just gotta find a way to probably just shut those down, right? I think we kind of have to. I think we kind of have to, yeah. So I guess we'll just go for it. Just 2 carronades. I guess I could also just hide. He does have to capture multiple points, so I guess that's good. The Trebs are in range. They have about the same range as the carronades. How hype. His defensive position means that he is not going to be able to do that much, right? Trebuchet's actually doing quite well against his bombers. Pretty fun, pretty fun. And the extra powder ability on Vampire Coast, that increases their damage by 30% if they're at above 80% ammunition. We want that out of here, man. I don't want him having a ton of ammo. I want his guns to be super powered, so we're gonna see if we can bully that off by just dancing around with Alberic, right? He just has to use a couple more volleys and then suddenly no more ammunition for you. At least no more superpowered ammunition. He gets a Terrorgeist in here. Got the goose. Alright, but this should be relatively okay. Terrorgeist is a little scary, but not too bad. And I should be able to start flanking him. I don't actually need to bully the bombers very much, but I've already started, so I guess I might as well keep at it. Now I'm expecting some Moringles in the trees, so we'll keep an eye out. But primarily we want to get into his backfield to try and draw his units a little further back. All going well, we shut down the carronades and then life is chill. Goose is coming for me. Dang, look at the Trebs. It killed a bomber mob at a fairly decent pace, actually. Now what do we want? I think I want to do this. Get some infantry to contest this point, because he's going to want to pull back here to defend his cannons, right? That's just a rotting Promethean unit. Genuinely not very scary. Lance is couched. All right. I'm going to use that for a little bit of a mobility boost, I think. Although it seems like the lance formation, yeah, kind of made them a little janky. At least some of my cav units, the lance formation kind of slowed them down, I'm not going to lie. But as soon as they get into the fight, that should get it done. Middle point should be relatively okay. Lance is couched. Lance is couched, and then we just want to glide through his infantry. That's the hope here. So you can see how effective the lance formation is at getting through infantry, as long as you position it correctly. There's some zombies over there on my far point. I can just bring in the infantry to deal with them. And so far it seems like his backline is getting pretty brutalized. The cavalry is very maneuverable. The mass increase helps them out a lot. And his rotting Prometheans, we can bully them with the trebuchets. So all I really got to do now is just make sure that we don't lose out on points. We just got to keep away from the big goose. Although I'm sure Alberic can probably get a lot of work done on it. Noctilus did rout off all my poor guys over there, though. Little unfortunate. But I think with most of his infantry actually dead and crumbling right now, I might actually be able to just secure the points with the few guys that I do have, and then win with the infantry spam. I think that's what I want to do. First things first, though, we gotta kill off this infantry unit. So how does this charge do? So we're gonna have extra mass cavalry. Pretty painful, actually. Pretty painful to his poor little halberds there. I'll take it. His goose is fairly good in HP. We did lose a lot of cav too. Not the prettiest thing ever, but I think we're doing all right. You know, Alberic's gonna be able to fight the goose. He's anti-large. He's a Chad. Zombies over there are crumbling. Let's heal these guys up and then disengage over here. I gotta be careful not to stay in a fight, though. Staying too long in a fight is definitely asking to get murdered. He also does have a lot of zombos here. I think we'll be relatively okay if I just get a swift enough charge. I'm just hoping the lance formation gives me enough mass to just kind of blitz them. The damage is definitely really high. Gotta make sure we don't overblob on that Terrorgeist. There we go, infantry's in. Oh, nice. Okay, he uses Pit of Shade, so now I can just jump the goose. At least that's the hope. We want to jump the goose, and then once it's dead, that's a very expensive tool down for my opponent. In the meantime, Alberic has his leadership debuff. He's gonna keep on jumping the goose. Wondrous Wind Blast. The fell bats are not a big issue. It's great. He's being baited out by my artillery pieces. And then overall trading value is okay. We do have a lot of anti-large here, which is good. What are these? Just animated hulks. Okay, not a big issue. Yeah, I think if we just sit here with our anti-large, I'll probably be okay. At least that's the hope. Fell bats are a very expensive call-in for him if he doesn't kill off my stuff there. And Terrorgeist is kind of suffering. We have the Grail Relic in here. In theory, this is a great fight for me to just sit and grind, but we'll see how it actually pans out. But I have a lot of cav going ham. Oh crap, that's a Pit of Shades. Retreat! Okay, we did get we'd mostly dodge a Pit of Shades, thank goodness. Alberic can definitely kill off the Terrorgeist too. His anti-large is crazy. The aura is, yeah, pretty nice. Oh yeah, it's huge, man. So everything here has just a ludicrous anti-large. Wondrous. And the trebuchets have survived. Huzzah. The bats are dead. Alberic's getting bullied ever so slightly, but we can land him. I think having the Grail Relic and Alberic here is mega value. And of course, you have more healing. Gonna get another regrowth on Alberic. There we go. Come on, halberds, cook, dang it. All right, nice, big crumbling. Yeah, who needs archers, man? Ah, yeah, there we go. All right, Lance is couched. We want to get onto those bomber mobs now. I think if we do that, we'll be set. I can also get some Lance rear charges down the pipe, right into the backs of all these units here. That extra mass will give them more damage versus infantry. The whole idea right now is we kill infantry with the cavalry, not archers, which is kind of a different way to go about with Betonia. But it looks like it is actually working really well. Melee Tonya with 2 trebuchets. The treb did not pay for itself, despite being alive like the entire battle. All right. A little disappointing, but okay. Get that lance formation going. We'll see how that does. And then they should sail right through the infantry. I wouldn't say they sailed through the infantry, but they got a little bit of push there. How much mass do these guys have? They have 90 mass. Okay, yeah, so the cavalry should go pretty hard through them. In a situation like this, you can see, as long as you keep them moving, I don't know, man. Those halberds are kind of stopping me up. It really feels like it was just the Skaven that it felt easy to glide through. But they do turn and maneuver quite well, I've noticed. What are these guys doing, bro? Freaking out. All right, there we go. So that'll be a triple cap. Couple halberds here are no issue. All right, let's see if we can get that gliding action that I saw earlier. It might also just be an Alberic speed boost. That's the most important here. Sometimes when they're in lance formation, though, it makes it a little janky. But let's see. From here, yeah, you can see they can kind of push through the infantry. Kinda. Is that more animated hulks? All right. I don't know how much the melee defense reduction is hurting me though, but I guess cavalry already have pretty low melee defense, so maybe it doesn't matter too much. All right, this is good. It's a good situation, right? So those are charging halberds. How good does our charge do against them? It's only okay. It's only okay. Could be better. Could be better. I feel like that's the theme of today with the lance formation. It's not the worst, but it just could be slightly better. Regardless, this game's pretty over at this point. We did not need no stinking archers. All I needed was glorious lance formation. Oh geez, they're all dead. All right, yeah, I would give it I don't know. It's definitely not worth your time if you are a newer player. We're gonna try it out against some even lighter infantry in the future, though. Maybe some Skaven, maybe something else. Maybe against some archers, we'll see. They actually routed off Alberic. Look at that. Kind of spooky. We're still good, though. When Vampire Coast is triple capped, that's a very uncomfortable situation for them. Actually wanted to chase off Alberic, though, but we won't let that happen. Oh, he actually took the point. How'd he do that? I thought I had capture weight. Little misplay there, but we're goodies. I got my Royal Pegasus Knights here. Alberic is totally not gonna die to a couple bats. If he does, that would be a great shame. Holy crap, he routed to a couple bats. Alberic, what are you doing? I swear, Bretonia feels so much stronger when Jarx is playing them. Jarx or Dandakan, when they're playing Bretonia, it feels like an absolute pain, man. It feels like pain and suffering. When I play Bretonia, I feel the flaws. Then again, we did still win. But, yeah, I don't know. They feel alright. I'll give him an alright out of 10. I might demote them, though. I might just stick with Slanesh Ogres, Norska, Wood Elves, and Empire as my main factions. It's one of the things that we're trying out today. Vampire Coast is a rather strong faction, though, so being able to beat them as Bretonia is nice. Oh, yeah, look at that charge. All right, so how quickly can they clear infantry? Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You see that charge? That was hype. Maybe it's a vigor thing. Yeah, look at that. They just pummeled straight through, right? So there's definitely some sort of crazy tech that I'm missing out on here. There's definitely some crazy tech. Like, there are situations where you want to use lance formation to get a crazy charge. I just don't exactly know. I just don't really know when exactly it goes super well and when it's kind of sketchy. But definitely they can get some pretty mighty charges. Minus 16 incoming, it's fine. The match is pretty over. Where are goodies?
The enemy has captured one of your victory points. Take it back. I knew it.
Lance formation is easier to use in Warhammer 3 since they added a hotkey. Yeah, the hotkey definitely helps. GG. Alright, so that was an okay use of Lance formation. It felt like it was going places. That was Vampire Coast versus Betonia, and Betonia win. Not the worst. One of his cannons got some pretty mega value, but the other one didn't. His Hulks didn't do that great. His Morgul's did real bad. My cavalry did okay. Alberic did very nice. And the trebuchets were okay. The trebs were very okay. They did bait out some Fellbats, which was nice. Royal Pegasus Knights were kind of eh. I feel like there's a lot to learn when it comes to Betonia. We will need to play more games. But anyways, 2 more matches. Downward slope. Oh yeah, we gotta use terrain. We gotta get the hill advantage going. I see. Main faction should be Nurgle, Nurgle, Greenskin, Tzeentch, and Skaven, and Coast. Okay, Tzeentch and Coast are actually not bad. Although Tzeentch I would put in the same tier as Greenskins. Nurgle and Skaven though are definitely the hot garbage factions. Oh my gosh, Thomas, thank you so much.
At Carrick's, he uses Striker to bait you. You take away 50% of her health and then ignore her.
Yeah, she's
this
pretty...
This is the worst thing you can
pretty
do.
Rough.
Ignore her or kill her. She makes the Dryads elite units, and you lose. Blue heart emoji.
Thank you very much for the tip. I don't think Betonia can snipe Drycha. You definitely have to ignore her. For those of you that don't know, Drycha has this ability. Fanatical Resolve? No. She has, where is it at? Oh, is it Fanatical Resolve? Yes, as they take damage. So it gives her a 35 meter range mega buff. I'm not going to be super melee in this game, but it's something to keep in mind. I could try to bring some Lord Snipe, but healing is definitely going to be rough. Most of the time, you should probably just ignore Drycha. She does also have her Rouse to Wrath ability, which is pretty spooky. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, he is playing Lizardmen. He already got the Wood Elves out of his system. Lizardmen, though, I know how he plays Lizardmen. Charix always will run the Umbral Tide, and he will often run Ancient Salamanders, and then he just uses some really good Cav Micro to bully you. Yeah, that's basically it. Umbral Tide are super hard to catch. At 70 speed, they can play keep away, and he just wants to draw you into his backfield. Now, if you can catch him, it's great, but you gotta be hella confident that you can actually catch them. Couple ways to deal with them: get a spotter, use some artillery, or maybe some magic. They're only 4,100 HP, so in theory you can actually Fate of Buna them. Betonia does not have Buna, and Flock of Doom can be out magicked. We only have Beasts, Heaven, and Life. So I really don't have the greatest solutions there. I guess I could Flock of Doom them slowly but surely, but he's very likely to have healing. He also likes the Troglodon. But I'm hoping I can beat his Lizardman with Betonia today. He brought Max Temple Guard against you? Okay, that's crazy. Guys spicing it up with Lizardman. Yo, yeah, it'd be cool if you could just add banners to units, but I think the balance would be... I think the balance would be pretty difficult. Most people would just put banners on their lords or their most expensive unit. I think CA is ill-equipped to balance banners right now. Nor would they be super exciting. Like, I think they're cool. But I think for the effort needed to implement them correctly, it would be not worth. Royal Hippos. Royal Hippogriff Knights? Oh, Hippogriff Knights. Can't you just Tempest them? I guess it's not like you can bring everything, but I still feel like I'd get kited into oblivion. I need some sort of way to not get kited by Ancient Salamander or what have you. Now, I can't just hard rush him. You know, just Green Knight, Alberic, and just blitz his face. And then use some healing to support the single entities that are YOLOing. That's probably not the worst idea, but I have to try and draw him a little forwards first before we go for the sick rush. Bretonnian infantry's not the greatest versus Lizardmen either. We got one more match to finish. We're just gonna message them to check in because we don't want the rounds to go longer than they should. Be pretty cool if you could load single player armies into multiplayer just for an event. Or try to beat your Doom stack. That would actually be pretty cool. Instead of just saving your Lord, you save the whole single player army. So like, I play a vanilla army, you play your campaign Doom stack, we see who wins. The campaign Doom stack wins, by the way. The power level difference between single player and multiplayer is insane. Absolutely bonkers. One hippo with healing can kill infantry cold ones with proper charges. Okay, well, yeah, like, it also costs 2,200, man. I don't think that's, the problem isn't that this thing can kill anything. It's that it gets killed by magic. If I miss micro it, they get charged. And it doesn't really solve the kite issue, although I'll give it a hard maybe. I think, like, if I'm rushing him, right, and I have one Royal Hippo as my hammer to really brutalize some fools. Cav maxing Lizardmen's kind of sketchy, though. Because there's a lot he can bring, like Croxagores, Boxagores. I guess in theory, these guys also kill Croxagores, though, right? So you use your cavalry to support this guy. And then maybe it's clutch. Maybe it's clutch. You can bring all this and Alberic. If he brings max Temple Guard, you can have a strong reserve force. Full Kadai Doom stack. Mass SC Doom stacks are, let's see here. Yeah, the thing is, in Domination, you only get, like, you can't even start with 20 units, man. A 20 stack already beats most land battle or domination armies because it's just not 20 stacks. The money spent is already like 2-3 times more than what you can bring in multiplayer. Alright, so it looks like there was a little bit of lag, but they're done now. All right. So looks like they're done. It's reported. We can advance the Swiss. We can move on. Goblins, round 2. And I'm up against Melkor. All right. Yo, yo. I'm Bretonia. All right. Empire. Ooh, all right. Now, last I played this, I was on the other side of the matchup. And the problem was... Oh, wait, no, it's Empire versus Kislev. Bretonia versus Empire should be pretty good for us, right? What maps do we have at our disposal today? Whirling Maelstrom, Dunes of Cain, Glinty Toofs. Ban Whirling? Yeah, I'll ban Whirling Maelstrom. This should be interesting. So, Empire, they have long rifles. And they have cannons. All of that is pretty annoying. Now, they can just kind of blob up with their infantry. And that will make life a little more difficult. But... do I have anti-blob tools? So I have Wind Blast. Wind Blast is not especially crazy though, right? It's just Wind Blast. That's, yeah, that's not gonna do that much. I guess, Green Knight is pretty high. Use Green Knight. I think Alberic's a given here. Alberic provides terror, and he makes it where your cavalry kill everything. He also has a leadership debuff. Super good for more blobby Empire builds. Weirdly enough, mounted yeomen are actually quite potent here. But what do I want to do? He's gonna have a lot of cavalry. In theory, though, we uptrade versus... in theory, we uptrade versus, like, basically all his cav, though. All going well. We kind of annihilate on that front. So I guess that's pretty good. Sure, let's just, yeah, let's try some of this. Get one of those. And then I think we more or less have a build. It's an idea. I think both sides definitely have some play here. But I think Empire is at a higher risk of getting skew builded to death. Whereas Empire is kind of standard, right? They don't have that much going on. Their infantry also have pretty low mass. So my cavalry can kind of run over them. We're going to try some lance formation strats. Can test Grail Guardians versus Knights. Against what? Against each other? If you want the general rundown, Grail Guardians are tanky, Grail Knights are for DPS. That's basically it, though. I would say a lot of people tend to go for Grail Knights, though, over Grail Guardians. Because a tanky cav unit just really isn't needed most of the time. But yeah, we'll see how Bretonia does. The problem is, here's the issue. I need to be good at Bretonia to beat Charix's Wood Elves and such. I gotta be able to beat Charix's Wood Elves. So, and High Elves. Bretonia is a natural counter to them, whereas Empire is kind of sus. So that's what I have in mind. Bretonia needs a mercurial shot. Bro, that would make them so broken. Cow wagons. Yo, give Bretonia war wagons. I think they become the best faction in the game. Betonia with War Wagon sounds terrifying. That solves like all their issues, bro. And they have like the best War Wagon support ever. Yeah, that'd be hype. There's a few factions where one unit just makes them ludicrously OP. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for this match. I think Betonia is favored into Empire, though, last I checked. The cavalry advantage is just a little too spicy. But I'm ready for my opponent to prove me wrong. One great thing about Betonia, though, is that if you play well, you'll generally be rewarded. They really rarely run into builds or factions where you're like, well, there's nothing I can really do there. So you can usually boil it down to your decision making. That's a good thing for me, as someone who feels like his skill should be carrying him. So dang, little artillery piece here. Look at that. Oh yeah, yo, playing as Nurgle, your opponent's always gonna dictate where the fights happen, man. If you're playing Nurgle and you don't plan on suffering, like what are you even doing? All right, here we go. So this is the idea. It's a rush down. Now he has a main tide, but also I don't have to commit to the rush down. I have a caster with Flock of Doom. We can wear him down. And if he has a counter build to this, I can still capture the points really early and then just summon in some guys, you know, maybe use some archers, maybe get some mounted yeoman skirmish. I'm feeling pretty comfortable overall. "17 units is quite a bit though, but that does mean he has a lot of infantry, and Alberic also has a speed boost. Spirit of the Tempest. It's not a very large area of effect, but everything directly underneath them will have a 10% movement speed bonus. That's gonna help out quite a bit. Outriders. I really don't know how I feel about the Outrider with silver chevrons thing. A lot of people go for it. A lot of people go for it, but like it never really seems to be better than just a normal Outrider unit, because in the end you just gotta shut it down. This is a glorious halberd stack though. It's a pretty crazy halberd stack.
We have a victory point. Keep it.
So I don't want to get outridered here, so they will stop my cav from getting too much working. Turning is pretty hard for lance formation. But yeah, how do we want to play this out? I think we probably just want some mounted yeoman. 4, 5, 10, 12, 13. I think he has huntsman. Pretty sure the guy has huntsman. And a demi knight. Wow. I will say pretty early summon on the demi knight. So there's the huntsman. I say it's early because I really want to Flock of Doom that thing. And we'll see how he deals with the yeoman. Mounted yeomen, they are pretty hype for their ability to be an absolute menace. They got ludicrous range. And they do a lot of damage versus lightly armored guys like these spearmen. Now he has huntsmen. But these demi knights, or not these demi knights, these yeomen, they can just dodge by just dancing a little bit back and forth. So I'm not particularly worried about their HP. We'll just keep away from his good old outriders. Give him some pepper. And overall, this is feeling like not a terrible situation for us. It feels like we are up trading quite well. He'll have to bring in some cannons if he wants to punish us here. Gonna charge those halberds. If they don't form ranks fast enough, they just get obliterated here. They just got obliterated. Gets a Searing Doom, not gonna be the best. And yeah, this is yeah, that's how you use lance formation. Use lance formation for those really quick hit and runs. They are brutal. And the Flock of Dooming is going to be quite nice too. Some Empire Knights are not an issue whatsoever. And now my opponent's forced to play more aggressively. I'm going to draw him into my side of the map. The center here. And potentially we'll be able to get a lot of work done. Some Empire Knights here. Okay, so he's summoning in more Empire Knights. We are able to just kind of blitz through those halberds, though. And if I can support that fight, that'd be great. Now, do I want to take the fight here? Probably not quite yet, because most of my forces are over yonder. We're just going to keep bullying those halberdiers a little bit. Maybe get a Flock of Doom on those knights there. Probably should have turned off lance formation, as it's hurting my melee defense just a wee bit. But we still win this fight. And I think a strong engagement here will set me up quite well for the latter phase of the battle. Anti-large is cooking hard. And look at that. His halberds are fleeing the cav. You know it's a bad sign when your halberds are booking it from large units. We got the fear in them. His Empire Knights have been totally brutalized. They are probably not coming back from this engagement. And so far so good. He has one capture point, but he's about to get massively surrounded. Man, what masses do these guys have? They have 100, so they're apparently heavier than those zombie halberds. But they are not cooking as well, are they? By just getting a few simple charges, we're really able to bully them. You get the Green Knight in here. Summons in more Demogryph Knights, but we know they're not exactly the best unit in the world. And I think we'll just start rolling in with some Battle Pilgrims. Gonna get a couple Battle Pilgrims here. They'll be able to cook very well. He whiffs another Searing Doom, which is perfect for us. And then we're going to see if we can get some advantage here. Maybe some holes in his formation. Gets a Plague of Rust on me. I'm just gonna ignore it, I guess. He's certainly getting a lot of range damage in, but most of his cavalry is occupied. And look at this gap in the formation, right? My knights are ready and waiting to jump that gap. He's moving with those spears too, which means that we can actually just push right through them potentially. And indeed, looks like we get a big punch through. Those spears are on the move now, so I should be able to bully them. Then we hit up that formation over there. We'll occupy the Empire Knights, and then we're just going to push right through. Now, he does get a pretty nice Searing Doom there. Many of my poor cavalry units are starting to suffer. And we don't have any healing, but if I can just jump all these ranged, it ain't no problem, right? We fought off his cavalry early on. And that means that I have basically free reign over this situation. And it's looking pretty good. The yeomen are in. The cavalry is in. He has a couple units of halberds here. But I am doubtful that they will actually be able to get much done. Now, he is summoning in more cav. Gotta be a little wary. We gotta definitely disengage. I think we're about to see a mass rout, though. Many of his guys are just not really in a great position to brace up properly, right? That's the scary thing about Bretonnia. Once you actually get into a mosh pit like this, you really will have a hard time getting proper braces. While the Bretonnian player is just going to be having a field day across your lines. And this is where the big collapse begins. As many of his units now are beginning to rout in terror to the mighty Green Knight. Let's get that lance formation going. That should go pretty well. We have secured the capture points. And we might even be able to get a free Gelt pick here. We'll see. His spearmen over here are just dead, that's for sure. Value trading wise is okay. Could be a little better, but definitely not the worst for us. I think I did lose a little bit too much cavalry, I'd say, taking that fight. But killing off all his range is definitely worth. There you go. That's a big rear charge over there. How much melee cav do I still have? A decent amount. A decent amount. We're still gonna have to clear off his infantry though. Like, this fight's going well. We've resecured the points. Did not get the triple cap though. But you see it's another infantry blob, which means that lance formation charges are gonna be brutal. Look at that poor spear unit. Getting murdered. Alberic has a leadership debuff too. He's gonna make glorious use of that. Then I have yet more cavalry ready and waiting to get in there. As long as we keep cycle charging, your endless spear tide will not go well. And this is what we learned playing as Skaven, right? When we were playing as Skaven, we learned that, yeah, really, a bunch of halberds just doesn't cut it. You kind of need mass to deal with all these painful cavalry charges. Quite thoroughly annihilated them spears. You'll love to see it. And now it's just the scraps. The scraps just got to be cleaned up, but there's basically nothing left. He did a good job keeping Gelt alive, admittedly. But we're pretty good now. I don't see much left on the battlefield for the Empire. They're looking pretty army wiped, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Ah, I think you changed your name. Verestering. What's up? It's going pretty good. So far, Petonia's been feeling rather powerful. Gonna get a partial dodge on that Searing Doom. Oh, dang. Basically full dodge. Hell yeah. Yeah, it seems like Petonia's pretty chonky. They're very good at pulling apart infantry with their cavalry. Still have to see how we fare against Charix. But overall, I'd say it's a good sign. We got 2 wins so far as Petonia. They feel strong. Maybe about Empire tier in strength. Yeah, you can see the Outriders. The Chevrons, they do nothing. In fact, a higher fire rate is actually worse than you might expect because the first volley is really important. Like, imagine a unit that fires once every 10 minutes. If you double its rate of fire and it shoots once every 5 minutes, it's still probably only going to get 1 shot throughout the entire battle because the first volley is free. So giving chevrons to Outriders and seeing their DPS go up can be a little bit it can be a little deceiving because you think they get way more DPS when in reality they might lose out on just by missed volleys. Now they do have a very high fire rate, so that makes up a little bit for it. But in the end, if the unit's shut down, the unit's shut down. I really am not a fan of Chevron Outriders. But it doesn't really matter. I think there's just too much range, right? And the halberds just couldn't cook. As long as you keep your cavalry on the move, most anti-large doesn't seem to do well. Green Knight did pretty well, Alberic did pretty well, and dang, the Flock of Dooms on the Demogryph Knights. Oh my god, yeah. I feel like Empire should really get some Demogryph Knight buffs. Demogryph Knights did nothing, bro. They got cooked. You're just not a fan of chevrons? Well, it's because they're bad. The only time I see chevrons making an actual battlefield impact is for accuracy on artillery. That's the only time I'm like, okay, yeah, I can kind of see that. But I've never been like, dang, how do you deal with those chevrons? Every time I see them, I'm like, wow, their army's smaller now. Hell yeah. I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm ready to be proven wrong. Not disagreeing? Ah, I see. Well, that too. That too. Grail Guardians versus Knights of the Realm. Or Chaos Warriors? What's this? Guardians versus Knights against Knights of the Realm or Chaos Warriors. Oh. Aren't they like... Well, like, this one has anti-large, so like, it's all about the anti-large, really. Against infantry, I'm pretty sure they're quite similar. This one has more entities, though. I guess I might as well. If I want to learn Betonia, right? We gotta test out a bunch of stuff. 9 Chevron Grail Knights, if you would please.
9 Grail Knights, if you would please. Winking face emoji.
I'll see if I can take one of. Maybe in one of my throwaway rounds. Let's see here. Let's take 2 chosen great weapons. Maybe there's a mass difference that'll do it. I am trying to learn Betonia though, so I'm not gonna meme that hard. But the Chevron Grail Guardians are not the worst. Oh, Grail Knights, Chevron Grail Knights. How expensive do they get? 2,500. They're the same as a Royal Hippogriff Knight, I guess, in terms of price. Yeah, that's expensive, bro. It's expensive. I'll see which opponent I'm facing first. I really appreciate the Danish kroner, though. I will try. And if not, it will go on the list. Contest Outriders with and without chevrons. I guess. The thing is, though, if you're getting shot at by Outriders, you're already making a misplay. As far as I'm concerned, Chevron Outriders is just being like, it's just a win more situation, right? Oh yeah, okay. Does not look the greatest for the Grail Knights. Took way more damage from that charge. And the Grail Guardians, they do way more damage though, alright. But yeah, like I don't know. Oh yeah, look at that. Blitz through. And then the damage is... do more damage. I guess that's pretty impressive. How goes the lance formation testing? I think it's really good against halberd blobs, Sotek. It's still not something I would recommend against anyone that isn't like a top 3 player. Or a Betonia main who has really good cavalry micro. I would say like you gotta be like top 32 at least before you even consider using lance formation effectively. But it will significantly increase their effectiveness against blobbed halberds, especially against really light. Also, I have to have you here, so attack, but especially against like light infantry. So we're talking like 100 mass or less. So take a look, see. If I got 2 Alberics, right? Is it worth charging in with formation and then turning it off? I think you should turn it off, but you might want to leave it on because it helps them disengage. The acceleration seems to help them. But let's just show it off real quick. So this is the lance formation test. So if you get if you get some infantry and they enter a battle so that they are not braced. I think lance formation is best when units are not braced. So let's do this, right? Okay, wait. Let's do this. All right, and you're like, okay, look at these guys. They're so exposed. I want to charge them, right? You get the charge in. Actually, in this case, lance formation did not do that much. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Sometimes it feels like it's great. Sometimes it feels like it just does not cook. Did this Alberic have the speed boost? They both have the speed boost. Okay. Disengage feels maybe slightly cleaner. I don't know, man. It's hard to tell. It's very hard to tell. I will say sometimes it feels like the mass is way better. But yeah, I don't know, man. They do punch through infantry really well, sometimes better. Like, there's definitely an impact, but yeah, it's so marginal. It's so marginal, but hey, maybe it increases the skill ceiling of Betonia a lot. I don't know. Just bring 8 Trebs. Yeah, I should bring 8 Trebs and the fully chevroned Grill Knight. Maybe it's better at approaching blobs. I don't know, they were kind of blobbed there. Okay, let's try even more halberds. I think okay, one of the things that might help is when you charge a unit behind, it can potentially get some working. So let's see if I can get a weird situation here. This is definitely like some Betonia main shenanigans though, right? This is totally like something that you have to know life with Betonia to get a good idea of. But here. Let's position like so, right? And we're gonna put this one in lance formation. So if we charge through here, right? You can see the impact on those halberds is pretty nice. This one, the impact on the halberds, yeah, the initial knights didn't really get a good charge. Is there a difference? Is there a difference? Let's see. Okay, yeah, that charge. Well, that charge also did well. I think it might be the acceleration maybe once you're already in melee. Let's see. So if they're already in melee here against this unit and then I give a charge on a nearby unit, does the acceleration make a difference? I don't know, man. I can't tell. I don't know, man. Yeah, I really don't know. It's really hard to tell. All I see is that lance formation sucks. Maybe it does. I don't know. They're definitely taking more damage. That's indisputable. Let's see just 2 swordsmen. Let's just see lance formation against 2 swordsmen. How does it do? I think if the unit is moving, lance formation might help you punch through them faster. And maybe that's what does it. So like it's better against players than it is against the AI. Let's see. So here's lance formation against 2 non-moving swordsmen. As you can see, the normal formation gets mostly stuck up. Lance formation can keep pushing through, right? So if I give a move command now, lance formation can get through this unit way more effectively. So if you want to get into the back line, lance formation is actually slightly more useful. It's so high skill level though, like weeding out the situations where it doesn't hurt you, that I really feel like it should be buffed. But if they buff it, people might just only use lance formation. Preferably, it should be super effective versus units that are not bracing. And maybe it's like a really nice way to punish that. So this is non-lance formation versus lance formation against a unit that is moving. As you can see, the initial unit. Yeah, it's just slightly better at pushing through lance formation. You can see even these guys they pulled back into melee against the unit. Lance formation is significantly better, especially at getting your stragglers out of the infantry blob, because it gives them just a little bit more mass to help them push through. So I guess it technically does what you would want it to do, right? And then if we charge back into the moving swordsman, right, lance formation gets a pretty nice charge, whereas the normal charge doesn't really do that much. So what you really want to do is you want to force your opponent to break formation, and then lance formation becomes significantly better, right? But you have to break their formation. Any static army is going to be way, way better against lance formation. And it's all about getting that kind of mass tipping point. You want the mass to be just low enough, but it requires no movement. Charix had to drop. What a guy. What a guy. He had to drop. All right, I'll drop him. I'll save. We'll wait for the best of 9 on Saturday. Okay. I got a best of 9 scheduled with Charix on Saturday. We'll show him then. I gotta redeem myself. His win rate against me is insane. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like lance formation accelerates faster, yeah. Alright. We know when done. So we're seeing maybe a player is lagging again, not entirely sure. Hey, Mammy, what's up? First time chatter, I have to have you here. Chark saving the secret tech. Spooky. Game wasn't lagging. It was just a very close game, alright. Well, score will be reported soon, and we can move to round number 3 without Charix. Could you bait with a comet to get them to move and then cancel the comet? I think technically you could bait with the comet and get a charge in. Alright, we're up against Risotto again. Here we go. Alright, at Goblins, round 3. Hell yeah. Alright, let's do this. I'm Empire. I mean, no, not Empire. I'm Betonia. I'll join yours. We're joining their lobby. They already got a lobby up. Alright, here we go. So, what are they playing? Is it going to be Kislev again? Kislev versus Betonia should be quite interesting. It is Kislev. I see. I see. And the maps. Here first. Alright. Not been keeping up with what's happening anywhere at the moment. So I got no idea what that means. What's this? Sotek said, kind of feels like the question should be, is lance formation meant to be a micro command? Because if the goal is to force players to actually actively micro it on and off, it needs to be very good to justify the micromanagement. Yeah. I don't know if CA actually has an intention with lance formation. Or I think whatever intention was there before is long gone. I think they wanted to give it extra mass, and maybe they wanted it as like a push through thing. But the way it's designed, you really just want to toggle it a lot. Sotek says, drowning in monster submissions. Oh, huh? Sotek busy. But yeah, what versus Kislev? Let's play Imperial Ambush? Nah, let's play Imperial Road. It's a big map. That should be pretty comfy for me. Now, Kislev have very strong cavalry. I don't think they have Questing Knight tier cavalry, though. Questing Knight should dumpster everything that Kislev has. Do have to be a little careful about their, do have to be a little wary of a lot of stuff. I think Lance Formation will definitely show itself in this match, because it'll be really good versus the vast quantities of infantry. Do I want some basic infantry, though? Like, do I want some peasant bowmen? Oh, yes. I needed a gold chevron Grail Knight. Yes. Alright. Risotto's good, but they're still fairly new to the scene. So I think I can afford a Grail Knight against them. Do have to be wary of the Kislev tide. Kislev can be rather scary if you're not careful. But this build seems like it is okay. Now, what magic do I want? They don't have much healing, so Flock of Doom is kind of the obvious, easy choice. You can take a Flock of Doom caster as Bretonia for 350. What a steal. Absolute steal. So, I think that's definitely worth. I might need more archers in case there's a box. And then, of course, we want to just have a ludicrous amount of cheap cav. Sounds pretty good to me. Yeah, this looks like a Bretonia build. All right, let's do it. Beware his Ice Witch. Some Ice Witch trickery. Alberic dumpsters everything, though, right? Alberic's just a Chad. Meaty Dangler says, I think it's okay as a thing to raise the skill ceiling a little bit, but not so good that you need to use it. Like the Black Orc Great Weapon ability. Maybe it is okay to just have like a little bit of a skill ceiling raise. But the ability has to actually be like decent. Because this is like such high level stuff that I think most people are not going to use it effectively. Like, I think summoning in your unit, you know, a couple seconds earlier will have a much bigger impact than toggling abilities all the time. And you definitely don't want the unit to suck without the ability. Now, when it comes to Lance Formation, it should be fine. I think Bretonia Cavalry is totally fine without the use of the ability. So maybe it's okay. But I think for the Wood Elves, what's it, the War Dancers or something? The one that gets missile resist. That one you kind of have to toggle. And it's really straightforward. You just use it against missiles. So yeah. Is this a tournament? This is a tournament. Single faction tournament. Everyone comes into the tournament with one faction. And they try to make it to the grand finals after 4 Swiss rounds. Alberic versus Boris. Boris wins the long grind. Alberic wins with cycle charging. So let's see how this goes. Too bad Charix had to go. Seems like Charix is a little bit more busy recently. But there you go. There's your chevrons. Got a bunch of halberds. Gonna park them behind my archers. We're gonna capture some points. It'll be great. Ready. The idea here is very simple. Protect the archers. And then maybe run him over with some cav. If he has a lot of archers, we'll need to be careful. Actually, he only has 9 units. Is he going for a SE blob strat? When you play against Kislev, you have to deal with that. Oh my god, it's cav max again. Ice Witch of Tempest has the Hawks of Miska. Okay, so this is definitely a Damsel of Beast situation. If we keep the Grail Knights alive, we win. Now, I didn't bring any healing, which is a little foolhardy for having straight up Grail Knights here. I would say that is a misplay on my part. But when you're being rushed like this, slow and steady is absolutely the way to go. He can capture the points to potentially force me forwards, but I think we'll be okay. Just have to play a little carefully. Get the Grail Knights into a safe position. And get ready to summon some cavalry. Griffin Legion and Wing Lancers should lose to Questing Knights with the Lady's Blessing. We're just gonna play it real safe. Because you see, his summons are not actually that great at supporting his army. They're just halberds. So in theory, the longer we sit back and relax here, the better it gets for us. That's a great Flock of Doom. Hit 2 Wing Lancers and a Griffin Legion. Splitting up after the fact does not actually save them. And the trades are already great. Now, I have no intention of playing too aggressively here. We are up trading purely based off of our magic. Gotta be super careful about Hailstorm that deletes cavalry like crazy. I think I'll just get another elite cav. Most elite cavalry suffer from a little bit of surrounding by enemy cav, but because I have Flock of Doom and so many halberds, and because we're playing defensively, we should be totally fine. Now, what is this Ice Witch doing? Seems a little foolhardy to me. She might eat an Albert to the face. Cast the Miska on the peasants, which is very inefficient. They're so cheap that it's just not really worth it to do that. And we'll get a minor charge on Alberic with the Griffin Legion. But he's pretty comfortable in this fight. I guess he doesn't have healing, so he does have to be a little wary, but anti-large means he'll be picking off a lot of entities there. It's a dandy old time. You also want to save your summons. You want to save your summons, because they will absolutely bully you if you're not careful. You want to surprise them with the summons, getting brought out of nowhere. Looks like my flank is going okay-ish. We will be able to get a sick Grail Knight charge here, potentially. Yeah, that should do pretty well. And we're just going to surprise Peasantry him. And then we're going to surprise Questing Knight. There you go, that'll go well. You get a sick Flock of Doom over there. And my Knights are crazy strong. Grail Knights are bonkers, man. They'll be doing great. We don't really have to worry about points. With so much cavalry, this is going to be a fairly quick trading game. At least I suspect it will be. So that's why we're playing it a little bit safer. Just have to be careful that these cav units here don't get too much work done. But as long as my cav here survive, I'm happy. My most elite of cavalry. His infantry is also really idle too, right? So I've been able to use all of my money to my advantage, whereas about 1,000 gold is kind of sitting on the far end. This is the advantage of being the defensive player. I don't want to summon Knights Errant though. I think probably I'll summon some Knights of the Realm. They're anti-large. They can deal with Kislev cav. Most of his cav here is getting hard bullied. That's good. Let's get another Flock of Doom. Flock of Doom's going very hard. If we kill the halberds, then it's just a bunch of Cossars that I gotta kill off. That's pretty chill. Kislev cavalry is absolutely deleted. Playing in our backfield is quite comfortable. And the Grail Knights have survived mostly. They're at half HP. Definitely would have been way more worth to have a healer. That's my B. It's absolutely my bad. Is this gonna be a really nice wind spell too? It could very well be. Right down the pipe. That's gonna be very brutal. His poor Cossars taking a little bit of damage. And this is where we're gonna use Lance Formation now. So can we Lance Formation these Cossars? They're on the move. It's not like they're in melee or anything. Looking, ooh, pretty solid Lance charge. Nice. Let's get another Lance Formation. Yeah, this is nice. So, like, you know, we can sprinkle lance formation every once in a while, basically. Sprinkle it around as needed. Bro, the Grail Knights are dead, though. But look at that. That's a good charge. Yeah, so lance formation is just a really nice way to buff up your charges against ill-protected infantry. A really nice way of getting that little bit of extra work done. Trading wise, we're doing great, by the way. That's good to see. Having killed off all the elite cavalry. That puts us in a comfortable position. So these guys are facing forwards. But I think a lance charge should still get in there pretty well. Looks pretty decent, I'd say. Those Kossars there, we can lance formation them. Those are just dervishes, not a big deal. And then if I can get the Lord snipe, then we're golden. I might be able to get an overcast flock of doom here too. That would be very hype. Let's lance formation, overcast flock of doom. Drop it like it's hot. And yes, we hit the dervishes. Now this lance formation on a low entity unit might actually be quite hype. Let's see. Against the Kislevite warriors. Maybe it helps slightly. Is lance formation worth the micro and all that? I still have no idea. But it's a thing that exists. It's absolutely a thing that exists. You can see that I'm not microing the rest of my army as effectively as I could be, though. I may blame lance formation for that. We can keep the charge going, though. So we charge his infantry, then we charge the backs of these guys. And then we charge back into his dervishes. Maybe that'll go pretty well. Ah, I see another lance formation charge here. You see these guys on the move? Let's see how that goes. Maybe it'll be clutch. Maybe it'll do nothing. You can never tell with lance formation, but eventually you'll get a feel for it. Hey, that felt pretty good. That actually felt pretty decent. And we keep the momentum going. Give them another move command to get over there. Yeah, look at that. Pretty high damage for not a lot of damage taken. So it seems like when you are in a good position, if you feel like you are going to get a juicy charge, lance formation will make your juicy charges better. If you are in a bad position and you are about to down trade because you left your cavalry in melee or whatever, lance formation will make you suffer more. Lance formation is the ultimate skill check. You get quite punished for screwing it up. But you know, if it makes my cavalry like even 10% better, I think that's definitely worth considering. Even a 5% cavalry boost for clicking the button, if I have nothing else to do, I guess is not the worst. I think that's where I'd put it. I think lance formation makes me 5% better with cavalry. Like, they will just be slightly better at the job that they do. But I think 95% of the time, it will have literally zero impact on whether or not you won or not. Like, I would have won this game with or without lance formation, right?
You have the foe's victory point.
But it's there. It's a thing. Oh, Sotek's working on lore beards. Ah. Grail Knights ate a fat spell. Yeah. This is a pretty big bombardment. We'll see how much value they had after the battle. But my poor Grail Knights, man. They still won. It's 2,500 gold for some Grails is kind of ludicrous, but I guess we still won. Very nice. That's a third win for us today. The starvation is starting to hit. Maybe I should get some milk. Smetonia versus Kislev. GG. And the Grail Knights. 1,800 value. They were on their way to paying for themselves. Were the chevrons worth it? It helped a little bit. Would have been nice to have more cavalry, but indeed, I was correct. They do dumpster the Griffin Legion if you can draw them into your backfield. Did have a phosphorus, never used it. And overall, I'd say things went well. Halberds were great, by the way. These Men-at-Arm polearms are super useful against Kislev, because they're going to have a lot of cavalry. You want something to deal with them. Holy value. Champions of Quenelle with the 2,560. Did I summon them twice or what? That's a lot of value. Dang, bro, the Questing Knight's cooked. Love to see it. Yeah, I gotta grab snack. Well, waiting for the next round, so I guess we can chill. Yo, I'm so excited for the new season on Saturday. I hope the DLC comes soon. All right, we back. Finally, you're not the last to win. You're cured, Pope Patty. Yeah, you usually don't lag. It's just sometimes there's like a connection between players that's super bad. Dang, you finished quickly that time. Annihilated the poor guy. Oh, all right. Sorry for the mic movement. So far, Petunia feels pretty good, by the way. Not nearly as strong as Ogre Kingdoms. Ogre Kingdoms felt positively broken. Like, we were just rolling over everyone, even Wood Elves. Petunia feels like they're strong, but like it's me that's winning, not the faction, you know? Slaanesh feels like the faction's winning. Ogres feels like the faction's winning. Norse guy definitely need to play more. Wood Elves feels like the faction is winning. Empire is kind of a mix. It depends on how strong the war wagons are against them. All right. Yeah, I feel like this DLC, I'm hoping it comes out this month. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping it comes out this month and they fix a bunch of the multiplayer bugs. I will sing the praises of Creative Assembly if they implement excuse me, a lot of these fixes. Fingers crossed, man. They've had so much time to cook. They had so much extra time. Surely they would have a little bit of time to get some quality of life and bug fixes in. Just check the Toll Tavern website. Win rates. Demons of Chaos OP. Yeah, Demons of Chaos are #1 again. It's pretty hype, man. Demons of Chaos. Slanesh is close though at 56%, but Demons of Chaos, best faction in the game. If we can just stay that way until Saturday, then the season will end with Chaos Demons at #1. That would be glorious. We did it for the memes. I'm never playing them again. Not until Seekers get buffed or something. Don't count on it. I think I'm ready to be disappointed. But yeah, in the end, as soon as I get this new video format going, I'm trying to get a video format that can hit like the 100,000K viewers. Because I can do like very Warhammer specific dedicated videos that'll get me like, you know, like in like the 20K range, which is great. It's amazing. But yeah. I think if I want to actually become like, you know, big time YouTuber, then I'll need to go for like, you know, some general videos that like anyone can watch. It's also less impacted by bugs in the game. Because like really the fluctuations that I get by catering to a very dedicated audience, which the streams do, which is totally fine. I'm cool with that. But with the videos, right? If Creative Assembly doesn't do well, then my videos will also not do well because it's all dedicated players. If I make a video that anyone can watch at any time, then it doesn't matter if CA is not doing well. The video stands for itself. It doesn't rely on the health of the game. And I feel like that's just a very safe thing to do, career-wise. And then the niche stuff can stick to the streams. I think that's how I want to do it. All right, looks like a game has crashed. So we're gonna need a, me. I'm gonna need to look at the replay. And see who won. We're gonna do some adminning, people. Replays. Let's take a look. Yeah, Turin launching the early season. If he knows, if he has a hint, right, of what's going on with CA, which like I don't know, he's been with them longer, but. If he has a hint, best case scenario, the DLC comes out on Friday, right? They hard launch the DLC on Friday just in time for the season. Perfect timing, everything goes well. That's not gonna happen, right? Or Turin feels like the DLC is not gonna come out for a few months and there needs to be another season. Or he just doesn't know and he's fed up and he's just gonna start the season. And who cares when they launch the DLC? I'm hoping for the Friday though, you know? I feel like I'm optimistic. You know, they're just gonna hard launch it. No no marketing, no nothing. Just cold open the DLC. Everyone will be like, wow. CA's been cooking, man. They've been cooking hard. And then, yeah. And everyone's happy.
Woeful tidings. The enemy
Are we
has
gonna...
captured one of your victory points. Take it
Let's see
back.
here. How far does this game go? Very little army spending on Eric the Horrendous. So no main fight has actually begun yet. So there's a big push. The White Lions have dived in. Massive value for Malcor. It would be so much easier to admin, by the way, once they fix this gold damage value. If it just said the amount of gold that's left on the battlefield for both players, it would be such a clear indicator of who's in the lead. Instead, I just can't trust it. I say it all the time, but it's a problem I interact with a lot. Looks like High Elves are breaking in pretty well, though. I hope the game doesn't end right now. So, okay, they've shut down most of the range. There's going to be a cav charge on the Outriders. So it's really just a lot of infantry for the Empire. 16 units to 12. Eltharion will have a lot of healing. Let's see how it goes. Gets another spell. Kind of whiffs it, though. It's kind of hard to tell so far. I think it's anyone's game. It's a barrage here. Looks like Eltharion's slowly coming out on top. He does have the Apotheosis. High Elves are... Okay, so they do capture this point, too. With so much infantry, they're probably going to uptrade, especially with the White Lions. Even though Empire, technically, it shows them as having higher gold damage value, Eltharion does heal. If Eltharion dies here, though, it's definitely way more sus. Holy value, though. Oh, God. Okay. So they've both summoned in all the units they can. Eltharion is routing. Does he rally? I think that's a big part for who has a lead here. I think High Elves are still slightly in the lead. He rallies. Okay, is he gonna heal? If he gets a heal, then High Elves are probably in the clear. Ticket-wise, it's still very close. He heals. Okay, yeah, Eltharion does heal. So what are we seeing? I don't know when they crash here. This is definitely a very close game. That barrage on the Altdorf Griffites was crazy, but there's two War Lions. They can kill the Griffites, and then there's just a whack load of infantry. Does Empire have a win condition here, is the question. Supply-wise, High Elves have more supplies than the Empire. They just have to summon it. And the Empire Knights here are okay. They can clean up some infantry. It's still really anyone's game. It's still really anyone's game. Eltharion gets the heal, though, and the High Elves capture this point. They still have 1,000 gold in bank, by the way. So even though it looks close, you gotta remember, they have 1,000 gold. They can have a whole war line ahead. The Outriders are making a sick play, though. Okay, and the High Elves disengaged. Or the High Elves crashed. It's super close. This is a fairly low stakes tournament. Looks like High Elves DC'd. The game was too close to call. So the DCing player loses. It's a little bit of a harsh rule, but generally I go by if the game is really close, we give it to the person who didn't disconnect, because in previous times, people would intentionally crash the game. But yeah, it's a little bit of a harsh rule, but some people would basically have a very slight disadvantage, intentionally crash the game, and then try to try to get a replay. Like, you take a bad fight and then you just like, oh no, my internet, whoop-de-doo, I guess I gotta play the game again, knowing exactly what my opponent brought. This isn't what I think the people here are doing, but we want to be nice and standard with the rules. Optimally, we get dedicated servers, but that's never coming. Is a remake not possible? We don't want to hold up the tournament very much. But yeah. Oh. Anyways, if this was a really high stakes tournament and both players were fairly reliable, it would be not too bad to just have them replay, because the game was very close. But a replay from the player standpoint will always feel really unfair, because both players feel like they were winning. So to replay it is going to be really bad. And if someone felt like they were losing, that's even worse. Anyways, there's no prize pool for this tournament, so we're chilling. I don't think these players are even making it to the tiebreakers, so very low stakes. Fun thing they can do, though, is they can also play against each other after the tournament to really settle the score if they want to get that out of their system. So that'll be pretty fun. Yeah, Eltharion is very, very annoying. I think Eltharion is one of the strongest High Elf Lords right now, right? No one runs Imric. Imric is completely outclassed by Eltharion nowadays. I think Imric could use a price reduction. I think you either see a hyper cheap Archmage, a hyper cheap Teclis, or Eltharion. Or actually, no, you do see a L'Oreal. So I guess you kind of see a good amount of the legendary lords. Is Lance formation actually good? Lance formation, so far as I can tell, it will make your cavalry more effective in situations where they are already effective, and it will make them less effective in situations where they were already not effective. So it's an amplifier in whichever direction they are. So if you're getting a charge on moving infantry, hell yeah, Lance formation it up. They will actually do quite a bit more damage. We're talking like upwards of 30%. Most of the time it's going to be quite marginal though. If you charge into a brace unit of heavy armored infantry, Lance formation will not really have a big impact. You really want, like, any situation where you're like, this is the juiciest cav charge ever, then you use Lance formation. That's the rule of thumb. Imric is a caster. He has the horn and a debuff. It's true, he does have that map-wide horn. If only High Elves had melee infantry. This is pretty sick. It's only 16 seconds, though. But he basically gets a mini-wah. Mini-wog. But yeah, it doesn't really help the infantry very much, and your cavalry also don't really help by it very much. High Elves rely on the archers to deal damage, and this horn ain't gonna do much. It's 16 seconds. It also has a really long wind-up. He has to inhale, I guess, for a while. It's a little, yeah, it's a little janky. Imric's also just kind of expensive. 3,000 gold is the price of, like, a caster single entity, right? Like, Alberic costs, you know, Alberic fully kitted out costs like 2,000 gold. Imric fully kitted out costs 3,000. Is he really that much better than Alberic? I feel like kitted out, Imric should cost 2,500. Like, he should have these two abilities. At best, I would rank him slightly better than Alberic, but realistically speaking, the liability of being on a dragon, he could cost like, yeah, I think 2,500 is safe with this loadout, but making Imric cost 400 gold cheaper sounds kind of insane, doesn't it? I guess that's to keep him up with Alberic. He is quite tanky and has some pretty good stats, so he should be more expensive. I'm pretty sure if CA tomorrow was just like, yeah, we made Imric 400 gold cheaper, instantly everyone's running out. Everyone's running Imric, right? How much is Eltharion? Yeah, Eltharien's 2,300. But he is a caster. He has way less HP than Imric. Maybe I'm undervaluing just how strong Imric is. Maybe make him 200 gold cheaper. 150 maybe? I think 150 would be like a safe bet. And all around, his on foot Imric should not be 1,200. That's absurd. CA really like making their foot characters expensive. Look at this. Ungrim Iron Fist, 1,150. Why? He brings nothing to the table. Maybe in lane battle, though. I think in lane battle it makes sense, though. Yeah. Foot characters are much more prominent there. So maybe that's why. I might just be playing the wrong game mode for them. My information good? It's really good in some specific circumstances. Helps you pull through infantry. But you gotta be careful not to overuse it, and it's a very high micro. Would not recommend for most people. Is Tyrion good in PvP? Tyrion is viable. People run him. Which is my benchmark for viable. But I think he is suboptimal by 2 degrees. Like, Tyrion, the stuff he brings to the table is outclassed by Eltharion in every way, right? So, Tyrion he's a tanky fighty lord that can heal. And he can clear out, and he has a damage ability, right? For 2,000. Eltharion is a tanky fighty lord that can heal, that has a damage ability for 2,300. But he's flying and a spellcaster. And he causes terror. And he doesn't terror out. Because for some reason, Tyrion looks at a Mourngul and he freaks out, man. Mournguls, Tyrion has nightmares about those things, okay? So, yeah. No one should ever really run Tyrion over Eltharion. Eltharion's better in like every single way. I'm pretty sure. I guess technically, no, you could take Eltharion on a, okay, I guess if, no, yeah, you could take Eltharion on a steed, and he's so much cheaper than Tyrion that I still think he's better. if you have to take a horse character. Though that one's debatable. Horse Eltharion versus horse Tyrion. Alright, nice. And on to the 4th round we go. Round 4. Fight. Up against Dandican. Hell yeah. I'm Bretonia. So recently we've been doing quite well against Dandican. I've won my best of 5s against him. He's Dark Elves. Ooh, alright. This is the big test. I'll ban Proving Grounds, yeah. I've generally done quite well versus Dandican. But this is an interesting situation because if we were in a tournament setting, I would want to try and counter his Dark Elves with Bretonia, right? I think against Daniken and Charix, that would be my natural response. But to actually win, we're gonna need to play quite well. So we're locking in. No more casual city. He's gonna have Scourge Runners. The great thing about Scourge Runners, though, is that they're very inefficient at killing cheap cavalry. Great at killing expensive armored cavalry. But you bring something like Yeoman Archers, then you're doing pretty well. I think, let's see here. What do I want? Yeah, magic. This looks like pretty good magic. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is good. I just gotta make sure his chariots don't kill me. Like, Daniken's a kite player. I just gotta not get kited, guys. Just don't get kited and we're fine. Cold One Knights get obliterated by Questing Knights last I checked. So if I do well with those, I shouldn't have to be worried about Cold One Knights at all. And then we just need some light cavalry to deal with chariots and such. Then I take a little bit of this. Dark Elf front line's a little scary. You do have to be just a tiny bit wary that they don't chop you to bits. But if you can do that, everything will be okay. How does this build look? Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, this is ooh. Ooh, yeah. Oh, this is a great build. This is a great build. All right. Let's see here. You can face Bob, you guy. Alrighty. So just a little bit of adminning and then we're good to go. Alright, so okay, there we go. I think I have an okay build. This feels like we're not gonna die super hard. Reinforcements, I just need a little bit more. What do I want? I guess these? Nah. One of those. Alright, here we go. This is it. This is the big test. If I can beat Daniken's main faction with one of my lesser factions, we're totally set. It means we're cooking, man. It means we are cooking super hard. If I lose, it means I have to learn more. Alright, so gotta do a little bit of adminning, some players messaging me, and then we should be good to go. I am mildly terrified at what Daniken might decide to bring. I've gone pretty standard though. Who can possibly fault a classic Man-Tide, right? Classic Man-Tide. Ludicrous peasant spam. We got some archers at the ready. They'll be great. I got a sick caster. What's not to love? This is perfect. I wonder if he's gonna bring Blade Storm. I've seen so much of Ponty bringing Blade Storm. I almost expect it now. But yeah, the idea is it's just a traditional battle. Just make sure you fight on your side of the battlefield, and then your in a fairly good spot. Interesting to see a deployment like this. He has, okay, he has Malkoths and Pendulum. He has a Lord with a little hokey poke. So we know the chariots are not too bad. Eyes are getting dry. But yeah, I can burn their ammunition. We're just gonna dodge a little bit. Those are cold one knights. We can poke them. What are they gonna shoot at though? They're gonna shoot at Grail Reliques? Dodge with the Grail Relique! The dread Grail Relique dodge. Bet you didn't expect to see that today, guys. But indeed, we are dodging with the Grails. We're gonna park over here. Alberic's gonna take a little bit of damage, but he's just gonna pull back. We're gonna get ourselves a little bit of a heal. Just healing up the boys. And so far, so good. I'm not too worried. Oh, gee, that's a pendulum. Decent dodge, decent dodge. Could have been slightly better. What we got there? So with Scourge Runners, you just want to drain their ammunition, by the way. If you can burn their ammo, you are in an okay position. Mounted Human are going to go over here. They're going to bully these guys. He got a pretty nice shot on Alberic, though. That part was a little painful. But if he doesn't kill Alberic, it's still value. We'll just keep on dodging. If we get another Knight summon here, we don't want him to blitz my infantry corps, do we? Looks like he's going for it, though. Okay. Well, I'll happily just heal that away. Gets another pretty spooky pendulum. And it's a decent amount of damage. My archers are a little worse for wear due to the pendulums. But his chariots are hurting. In fact, one of them may very well go down. That would be perfect for me. Looks like indeed. Fly, you fool, fly! Alright, there we go, good. Never worried, even for a second. So we can just pull back with Alberic. His chariots have not really been able to get the ludicrous value that they want. My archers are having a generally quite fun time skirmishing against them. The kiter becomes the kited, it seems. That's a pretty good sign for us. Most of his magic hasn't really done too much. Nor has he gone a devastating amount of damage on Alberic. Just a little bit of hokey poke. But really nothing too bad. Looks like he wants to once again go in for the chariot cycle charging. It's just not going to be very value though, right? Because Alberic can just countercharge every time. Looks like my archers are having a really good time actually. Because they also poison. We have many a poison archer here too. Popping off, going ham. Alberic is going to maybe kill another chariot entity. Maybe even chase him off if we're lucky. Gonna try and get a sick hit there. Looks like, yeah, he's gonna have to disengage. Now, Doomfire Warlock does show up. Looks like they want to get a Doom Bolton on me. We must be careful. Alberic takes one to the dome. A little uncomfortable, but he has healing. And the double cap goes well for us. Now, when he goes to this middle point, I'll probably need a spam cavalry to take the flank. I think that's going to be my plan. What are you doing over here? Oh. We want a breath attack or something? I've been dodging these pendulums fairly well. Thankfully, our internet connection is actually pretty good. The Scourge Runners are mostly dead now. Even if he desummons them, the damage they've taken is a little too much. So, I'm still feeling quite confident. Especially with so many of my archers still alive. It does show more value for him, though. But you gotta factor in the healing. The healing's been going quite well for us. All right. And this little mud pit over here is going to be very bad for him. That's going to be super painful. All going well. It should be quite difficult for Danican here to get a good fight with his infantry. At least I believe so. Alberic needs to be a little wary of this big old dragon lord. Gonna lance formation charge these spears over here. Got a lot to micro. Here comes the Scourge Runner Chariots. It's a pretty nice shot on my squires over there. And okay, looks like yeah, he's holding fairly well on the flank. All right, gotta be a little careful about that. I think we can't overwhelm though, with even a simple unit in there. Keeping him in the water is definitely a big plus. That'll be a good heal for us, and we do have cavalry at the ready. Notice I'm trying to snipe my Grail Relic. That's not too pleasant. But yeah, if I can steal this point, that'd be great. I just don't know if we'll be able to. Maybe if I spam Mounted Yeoman. Yeah, they'll definitely be able to steal that point now. Because this fight's going to take a while, right? I have a ton of infantry here. We have a ton of archers that are still relatively safe. Alberic is providing his leadership buffs. And his anti-large, which is perfect. So we're just going to go for this. We're going to steal the point. And then we're going to hopefully flank some of his archers. I think that's exactly what we want to do. Of course, it means that my the rest of my army is a little slow on the draw here. Actually getting into position. But this feels pretty nice. Look at that. Big overwhelming of this force. We're going to have a nice cav charge there. Centerline is okay, but there's the passive. The passive is where things get a little sketchy. But with all my archers still mostly alive and a fairly painful flank coming in, along with a potential triple cap if things go really well for us, I'm feeling pretty comfortable overall. How's Alberic doing? Still alive. Let's go. Alberic has to live. If he dies here, that would be so bad. I need the anti-large. We need it. We need it real bad. His backline is actually fairly well defended too by the looks of it. But my alliance are doing okay. I will say it's a little sus. It's a little sus. I think this backline fight could have gone slightly better for us. Having the double cap is definitely good though. And I could probably kill off these Dark Riders on the flank. Having so many archers alive is definitely a huge blessing for us. But yeah, these infantry guys over here are just not dying, are they? A little painful. A couple Dark Riders are chilling. We can kill them though. Gonna need to kill off these Cold One Knights, it seems. How's the fighting going? A lot of sketchy fights overall, I must say. We're gonna have to pull away from there. Definitely gonna need to get more elite cavalry. I feel like I'm running out of steam, which is not a good sign. I feel like I'm quickly running out of steam. But if the fighting stays roughly even, it's not too bad. Because remember, we have tickets. I have time. Ooh, we almost got a massive breath attack on Alberic. He's gonna charge him too, okay. Will he actually land it though? Because if Alberic gets a counter charge on his lord, that would be super bad for him. Looks like his charge is pretty brutal though. If he kills Alberic here, that would be real bad for us. I'm gonna try and rout off those harpies. I think this is his big play, right? He wants to rout off Alberic and then pull out a victory through the route, but Alberic has healing. His lord doesn't. We're gonna surround him. Maybe get a pick. Nah, it looks like they're gonna live. Dang. So his lord makes it out, but Alberic is still in very good health. I think that's an okay position to be in. A lot of my units are beginning to rally, which is pretty hype. His lords, ooh, gets a pretty big hit from Alberic. Counter punches, but it puts him in a bad position. A lord snipe here would definitely be a game-winning play for either side, but it looks like Alberic's coming out on top. Dang, Chad Barrick. Chad Barrick does not fool around. All right, well, we got a big rout on his lord. He ain't coming back. I believe he's too injured now to really participate at all, really, in the fight. So he should just be gone. I shouldn't have to worry about him very much. Raven Heralds are a little annoying. We can dodge them though. And if I just take this fight decently well over here, I think we're okay. Unfortunately, many of my units on the far side have taken a lot of heat. My caster's fighting his caster. That's a bit of an awkward situation. Can I kill the Raven Heralds though? Oh my god, his lord rallied, bro. Broski. Whiffed the charge on his Dark Riders too. Even with his lord so low, it's still a little sus, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have a hard time re-securing a lot of these points. Alberic lives, but the rest of my army ain't looking too good. We're gonna need some cavalry here, right? We're gonna need to get the cleanup crew. Now I have time. That's my main advantage here. We will be able to hopefully save Alberic. I swear, if he dies to a couple Cold One Knights, that would be so bad. Looks like he lives though. Thank goodness. Thank goodness for that. All right. We're gonna keep tussling on the flank side. His archers have been alive for far too long. I'll give him that. But okay, Alberic lives. And his lord's almost off the battlefield. Very, very nearly off. But he rallies, bro. What a guy. All right. Danican squeezing out that delicious value. He's triple capped us too. Okay, but his lines are starting to crumble apart here. Many of his infantry units are beginning to fall apart. That's good. Alberic lives. Okay. I should be able to secure this point then. I should be able to. Would have been real nice to see his lord get full routed. But I guess you can't get everything. Alright, fairly good routing off of these fools. He's gonna get a Doom Bolt maybe. Not a big deal. Alright, Halberds, this one's on you. I think he's barely gonna win it. Bro, that Dragon Lord at 2 HP is insane. That is insane value for Danican. Alright, clock's ticking now. Him getting the triple cap is definitely gonna help him. He did bring in Doomfire Warlocks, who are not exactly the strongest unit in the world. But we're gonna have to re-secure a point. Without the point secured, there is no chance. And there's just simply so few units on the battlefield right now. Oh. We got DC. If he DCs, he can have the win. I think we're behind enough on the triple cap that he gets it. Then it can, he can sometimes have some sketchy internet stuff. Hopefully it's not just a DC. Come on! Yo, this guy though, 400 HP. Oh my god, what a Chad. I can't believe he lived. Bro, if he routed, we would have won. Alright, yeah. Danican disconnects. Very well played though. Spooky match. That was actually super close. Super duper close. I noticed his Cold One Knights were a huge issue. That's something I'm gonna have to consider. My mounted yeomen were okay, but I think my flank summon did not really do that much. I should have focused on the main. Should have focused on the main fight. I like how it gives you the defeat screen when your opponent DCs. Oh yeah, that's really weird. I don't know what's up with that. He killed the foot squires pretty hard. The pendulums were pretty scary for the archers, but they actually got a lot of value. He was having a hard time jumping them. In the end, he just had a little bit better Cold One Knight micro, though. His Cold One Knights were super duper annoying to shut down. My questing knights just could not really get the jump on them. Could you have unsummoned your wizard before she died? Oh yeah, but she only cost 350. She's pretty cheap. The great thing though is that we will likely be facing Danican in the tiebreakers or finals, so we should be good. Too many Yuumen? Yeah, I think I had too many Yuumen. So like I would definitely just not summon them and get something that can actually kill off the Cold One Knights. Do I have any Britonia builds even saved? Yeah, I think Yuumen archers are fine. And I think you do want them to contest points and all that. Do you need them though? Let's see. I could also get more foot squires, but the foot squires kind of underperformed. I feel like Dark Elves have a few too many shields for the Yuumen archers to really be worth taking. I think I would rather have more normal men-at-arms. And only like 2 Yuumen archers. I think you want to go pretty light on that. And then you go pretty heavy on your heavy cav. Yeah, this feels pretty good. Swap this guy out. Get a Knights Errant. Get a Mega Knights Errant in there. Damsel Earthblood felt needed. Like, it felt like I really needed that to sustain the kite. Alberic was great. If you killed off that Lord, it would have been perfect, but... Oh, actually, wait, if I get rid of this? No, I'm barely not enough money to get Heroic Killing Blow. Well, it's okay. But, yeah, I really need something to kill the cold ones, don't I? I could take a Royal Pegasus Knight just to, get some sick cav charges, but... I guess Knights of the Realm and Questing Knights is probably enough. And we skip on the Yeomen because they just didn't really seem that effective versus Dark Elves. I think this one. I think this one is closer to what I want. Yeah. Fun game though. That was a very hard fought battle. Now we wait for the top 4. Our Battle Pilgrim's not good. I think they're okay. But I feel like I mostly need the anti-large. Like, Dark Elf infantry are not really a big issue because your cavalry just stomped them. I do wonder about the Questing Knights. I think Blessing of the Lady is worth it to take on them. Does anyone know if it's worth it to run the Blessing of the Lady or not on these guys? It's gotta be, right? Theoretically, it increases their HP. And it does make them harder to rout. The great thing is they can just YOLO into Cold One Knights, and I think they just hard win it. Especially if we have Alberic nearby. And then we have a little bit of anti-chariot action. This feels all right. Feels like an okay build. In the end, it's just gonna come down to who plays better, though. Like, I think Dana can just slightly play better than me. My big mistake was trying to go into that backline dive. It really didn't get me anywhere. And if I took a more standard fight, I think we would have just won. Because once I kill off all of his cavalry in the main fight, it's pretty easy just to just punch straight through his front line. Are Grail Knights just bad? They're not too bad, but you have to babysit them really hard. They're really good defensively, I would say. Grail Knights. Where they can get free counter charges and they don't have to worry about being charged themselves. Yeah. But when I'm running this much cavalry, I don't really have the time to baby this unit. But some people will definitely go for way fewer cavalry and go for like a regrowth. And then yeah, and then they'll just heal them up that way. Yeah, we're losing when we want to win. Big misplay. Anyone play Tomb Kings? There's no prominent Tomb Kings player in the meta right now. Wouldn't a Trebuchet be good? A good pick against an Elven faction? Trebuchets rarely pay for themselves. It would be an okay tool. Like, it can poke about a little bit, but I would say, like, you know, I would say maybe on the Trebuchet. So, like, you know, I could cut one Yeoman and get one Trebuchet to kind of be annoying, I guess. Yeah, it's really map dependent. The problem with Trebuchets is that they don't force your opponent to attack you. They're not like the Sunmaker, where it's like do or die, man. Trebuchet is just a tool that will get you a little bit of value if the game runs long, and you get to choose the target that you want to hit. So if I'm like, those dark shards are really annoying, get the Treb in there, you know? Maybe I can get a hit on a cold one night, but if he micros well, it's kind of sus. All right. Alrighty. I can't wait for the rematch, though. The rematch is where all of our learning comes into play. All right, nice. We can do top 4. We can do top 4. We don't have to wait for the full bracket to finish. That's one of the benefits here. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players, which means me and Danican do not have to play. Tiebreakers. Left is top bracket. Attack Speed Enjoyer versus Pope Patty. At Navigator versus at Risotto. Risotto's really been doing well lately. They're a name that's appearing quite a bit. Danican, stand by. I'm casting this one. Lobby code, please. As usual, we're gonna cast the tiebreaker that is most even, so the middle one. That is apparently the closest matched. Though I would say Navigator is way stronger than Risotto. But we'll see. We'll see. What's Navigator playing? Faction will play a big part here. Navigator, let's scroll about. They're playing Norska. Ooh. Yeah, so I would say Norska on Navigator. It's not his main faction. He's not playing Wood Elves. And Spexla. But Navigator is just a really strong player. Risotto is a strong up-and-comer. We've seen them beat Ponty with his Hydra build. But, yeah, if he beats Navigator, that would be insane. I think Navigator on Norsk is terrifying, but we'll see. Kislev v Norska. This should be quite Norska favored. I'll be back in a second. Oh boy. All right. Kislev versus Norska. Who wins it? Navigator's Norska is scary. I think he's definitely scary. It's not his main faction, but Norska's pretty easy to pilot. But he's probably not going to have like crazy tech, right? It's going to be like Berserkers and like Fimir or something. Maybe like I think of someone as a Norska main when they whip out the Ice Wolf chariots. And they start microing them like crazy. But that's about it. Just had a stream with Ungrim and a Demon Slayer Lord. With 60 melee attack and 50 melee defense. Dang. Wait, what? You lost to some orc boys with 24 melee attack? What do you mean by 2 orc boys? Because like, one of the things, if you're dealing with your lords, your foot lords getting surrounded by orc boys, they lose like what, 60% of their melee defense when being attacked from behind and 30% when being attacked in the flank. So that means that if they're being attacked from behind, they'll be taking more damage. I don't think an orc boy unit actually kills Ungrim and a Demon Slayer at full health though. I think they would eventually win it, but the Demon Slayer would probably take a lot of damage. Honestly, foot characters just kind of suck. Especially when they're surrounded by infantry. But, yeah. The biggest issue is when they're fully surrounded, they just take a lot of hits. He used to main Norska? Really? Navigator? Alright. This could be pretty bad for Risotto then. Maybe I should have cast the other matchup. What's this? Was this campaign or was this multiplayer? Because also, if this was campaign, we're talking chevrons, we're talking scrap upgrades, right? And that will have a really big impact on how the unit performs. Who knows, man? Who knows? Also, yeah, Demon Slayers have 0 armor. Like the Slayer, I would expect to die. Ungrim less so. I think Ungrim, he should win, but doesn't Ungrim have like pretty garbage melee defense? Did you use his ability that reduces his melee defense? Because that ability sucks. Like really bad. I would almost never use it. Alright, what are we seeing? Oh, dang, the champ squad. Alright, alright. This is a different Norska build. Marauder champions, eh? Well, alright. I will say, Marauder champions are... just a wee bit unusual. Pretty sure they get massacred. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure they get massacred, but we'll see. Also, we're facing Danican immediately after Total Tavern. Send us up. What is this? Wing Lancers, Hailstorm, and a bunch of Kossars. Oh, some Zargard. All right. You have some Zargard and Watchmen of the Night. All right. Got some elite infantry over here. These aren't the great weapon variant, though, so they're not going to be super strong versus the champions. But if you take a look at the stats, the units cost the same. Look at the difference. Marauder champions have like 8% more HP. They have slightly more damage and melee defense, less melee attack. They don't have Dire Blood, but they do have Rage. So the champions should be significantly better than the Zargard, aside from the Silver Shields. So maybe they get shot to pieces. Watchmen of the Night. They have anti-infantry. They got Frenzy. Bonus versus infantry 5. Compared to Marauder champions, they actually have way better melee attack. Their melee attack is way, way better. Now, they don't have that much AP, but they got a decent amount. And their bonus versus infantry will help them actually hit the champions, as they have 53 melee defense. It's mostly going to be a grind fest, though. Like, these units will not deal a lot of damage to each other. They'll just kind of sit there. The real DPS dealers are going to be the Kossar Spears and the Marauder Hunters. You don't see these guys too often, but against a Kislev build, especially one with shields, not a terrible idea. Should be interesting. Ooh, a little bit of a Wing Lancer charge here on the backs of some Marauders. Oh, we're going to see a sandwich maneuver? Hell yeah. It's a 400 gold pick. That's actually pretty big. This early into the battle. Ah, but it was a bait. The Searing Doom is cast. But a nice dodge. Very nice dodge. Look at that. Wow, look at that. That's a pretty sick play. Now, it's not the worst trade for Norska because they got a little bit of damage off. But they did have to use a spell for that. That's not a comfortable position in the slightest. Now, Marauder champions, they have mass. They're not going to fall like the Marauders at 160. They're quite chonky. But these small little fights don't matter as much as the main fight, right? We got Throg coming in. Got some Kislevite warriors. They're charging in. And we got some Fimir. Fimir are very popular nowadays. They are extraordinarily cheap at 1,150. And they can definitely murder a lot of infantry while tanking some shots. Wing Lancers get caught by Skin Wolves. Pretty big misplay over on the flank side. But maybe another misplay. Shaman Sorcerer has been surrounded. Now Searing Doom is cast. It's fine if he gets the big hit here. Oh my god, and the Wing Lancers. Absolute brutality. Absolute brutality for the poor cav units. Now, they do route off the caster. If they actually chase him off, it's still a pretty big win. But definitely not as good as it could have been. On the flank side, Skinwolves versus Lancers is going. And Throg is taking a little bit of damage from the archers. Throg could potentially get routed off here. That would be really bad. Holy crap. The Wing Lancers just don't give up. -8 leadership though, so they're gonna rout. But they shatter him. Holy crap. By our blood. Now I understand why people hate that ability. The By Our Blood lasts just long enough. Just long enough to shatter the Shaman Sorcerer. Even worse, he's shattered, which means he has to route off the map before he can be resummoned. He's not even dead. That's like the best case scenario. Now, they still traded out a Wing Lancer for it, but having no magic now is definitely going to be kind of sus. Norscan frontline's getting in here, but most of the range units are still online and operational. Marauder Champions trying to ignore the Kislevite warriors, but they're getting a decent amount of value for that. And I'd say it's still anyone's game. Pretty solid lead for Kislev though. Oh my god. Is Navigator gonna lose this? The Skinwolves got routed on the flank to a couple dervishes. Got a sick charge. Caster's almost gone, so he can be resummoned soon. But you're really feeling the lack of magic now, right? Kislev, when they don't have to worry about Searing Doom, can go ham with their dervishes. Yeah, -16 for Norse coming soon too. Throg looking a little beat up. Throg daddy. About 40% HP for that guy. Fimir don't really trade super well versus the Kislevite warriors. But some Marauder champions are still cooking. They are on top of the infantry. Some Ice Wolves are here too. And there's no cavalry here just yet. Griffin Legion gets summoned in. These are spears, so they'll probably do fine versus the Ice Wolves. But one archer unit is down. That's not enough though, right? Norska wants to kill off at least 3 of these guys before they're comfortable. Throg has taken a lot of damage, mind you. All right, Hailstorm on the Hunters does an okay amount of damage. Not the most efficient play, but maybe the Kislev player here is trying to just secure the victory. Because once he gets a good enough cav advantage, he's in the clear, right? Oh my god, Norscan Ice Wolves are gone. Or these just dervishes, so they don't care about being countercharged. Fimir are gone too. Huge pick. These are so expensive to just die off to a couple cheap guys. They're not that expensive, but like you really don't want them out of here. And Throg is surrounded. Partially. He does have an escape path, but he can't really run away from Griffin Legion. Attack animations into the Griffin Legion. He's at 9 leadership, but a couple Marauder champions are coming in to try and help. -5 routes, but Throg regenerates, and the routing retreating will help him disengage. So he lives, but that's one route out of the way, and he's basically off the battlefield for the foreseeable future. Navigator, if he wants Throg back at full HP, he's gonna have to have Throg die, which is not exactly a comfortable situation. And now the cavalry is shutting down the Marauder Hunters. Very nice. Over on the side, Marauder champions are gone. Is this build gonna cut it? Watchmen have overextended. Haven't got that much value, actually. The Zargard, I believe, have died off too. Oh no, they're still chilling. Look at that, 45 melee defense. Not a ton of value. They're holding up for maybe a Miska, or is that a Hailstorm? Hailstorm's not bad against Ice Wolves. Miska might rout them off. Looks like they're holding strong though. Throg is running into the backfield to simply survive. And the Griffin Legion are down trading slightly. Navigator's a strong player. He's trying to pull it back, but if you just look at the battlefield, there's a lot of blue. He summons in an Ice Wolf. Supplies are even. And he's gonna have to somehow come back with like one bloodied Skin Wolf, Throg, a Fimir warrior, and a Norscan Ice Wolf. The problem though, Fimir warriors do not get you a lot of value. They can't really make plays, right? They're really good at trading evenly, but when you're behind like this, even trades are not what you want. You want some chonky trades. You want some mobility. Summon some infantry, also not really good at trading. But the Ice Wolves, you can see they're cooking, right? Ice Wolves are fast. They got a charge on the Watchmen. They're doing okay. The armor debuff from the Femur is hurting them a little bit. But look at this again. Throg again! Surrounded by the cavalry. Navigator trying to squeeze as much value as he can with Throg to try and pull back value. But he routes a second time. That's the danger zone for your boy Throg. One more route and he's shattered. But maybe he just dies here. Absolutely washed. Don't talk about Navigator like that. Although I will say this is quite the upset here. I will say though, the Kislev plays were pretty nice. But losing the caster, I think, was the big mistake, right? Losing the caster to a Cavs round. I guess he was trying to set up for a Searing Doom, but it's a risky play against Kislev. Buy Our Blood is insane. And the Dervishes are just escorting Throg off now. He might not die, but he's effectively gone here. And I believe that's a triple cap. Nope. Norskus barely has this point. In the middle field. Fimir are here. They've taken a lot of damage from the halberds though. These halberds do not joke around. And Throg looks like he's about to die. There's still no caster too. Dude, there's so much magic left on the table. He finally comes back. He finally comes back, but to support what? He's all alone. Caster's running through the desert. He's like, what's up, Fimir? How's it going? Marauder Hunters, why are you running in that direction? What's going on? Oh my god, Griffin Legion. Not again! Not again! He's running. He has 3 more speed than the Griffin Legion. Oh my god, this looks like something out of a comedy movie, man. Griffin Legion chasing this guy down. Was his Monty Python? Gets a pretty nice Searing Doom. Oh no, the hunt is on though. The hunt is on. The charge speed bonus. They catch him. The trees. He's gonna catch. He's gonna get sick final transportation though. Overcast. He's trying to pull back value. Hits everything. That's a good amount of value. But if this guy dies again, that's like almost 2,000 gold. He's 3 spells, 200. Another 200 here. That's 400. Base cost is like 300, and he's on a mount. Yeah, that's like 1,000 gold down the drain, and he's gone. He's gone again. He keeps playing us. Doesn't matter. Oh my god. What a brutal time to be a shaman sorcerer of metal. Oh my god. The caster snipes. Bro, and now the cavalry have a field day again. Now, Ice Wolves versus Griffin Legion here will be good. They're not getting supported by the Wing Lancers. That's going to be a nice trade, but like all Kislev have to do is YOLO some cavalry and evenly trade. That's all they have to do to win this. Both sides are super beat up. But that's going to be it. Navigator gets beat by the up-and-coming champion. Risotto! What the crap, man? Holy crap. He just beat one of the top players in the scene with Kislev. With the Zargard Watchman build. Hell yeah. Holy crap. Holy crap. That was insane. The Throg snipe was really good, by the way. The archers just focus firing. Caster did get a lot of value, but it was towards the end of the game. Champions were okay. Kind of like the champions. Very nice. Well, we're up against Dandakan now. Oh my god. Bro, the Fimir really did not do well. There's so much anti-large here. I think build-wise, he had a slight advantage. I think build-wise, he's pretty comfortable, right? There's so much infantry here that the champions can't really do much. And his axe throwers were only okay. Plus, Throg is super prone to getting shot to death. If he went for a Cav max, the Norska build would have been much better. And of course, I think the big losing play was losing that caster. Because you really need Searing Doom to deal with all the random cavalry that Kislev summoned. Because like, look at this, right? Look at the Griffin Legion damage. Look at the Wing Lancer damage, right? It's crazy. You have to Searing Doom them. You have to. But he was unable. Which means the top 4 should be getting assembled. We are now up against the Dandakan. Can I redeem myself? We'll have to see. Griffin Legion OP. Bro, them barely breaking, barely shattering the caster is insane. He's playing Dark Elves. I'll ban... What's Creeping Swamp again? Creeping Swamp. I'll ban, Creeping Swamps. It's not the worst map. Not the best map. Maybe I do ban Itza. I'll ban Itza. Let's just get a big map. There's gonna be some trees, but we can deal with it. Searing Doom is one of the best spells. It's not as good as like Malkoth's in the vast majority of situations, but Searing Doom is definitely up there. The only problem with Searing Doom is it's only good versus cavalry blobs. But that's honestly not the end of the world, is it? Alright, is there anything I would change to my build? We'll see what map he wants to play on. It could be Cursed Oasis, same one that we just watched. We're gonna have to play this one very well, though. He wants to play on Swamp. Alright, Creeping Swamp. So, there's a few trees here. Few trees. Makes it a little awkward. He might run Pendulum again. We'll have to be careful. Dodgerino that quite a bit. Alberic's kind of weak to the sniping too. All his sniping attempts really hurt him pretty bad, but I think we played it fine enough last time. It feels like we did not terribly. So yeah, let's just ready up. I think I only need a couple small adjustments to my build. But otherwise, it's going to come down to micro. Can I defeat the Cold One Knights? He's probably going to micro his Scourge Runners a little better. Last time he took some really bad trades early on. But yeah, we'll see. His infantry front line is a little annoying to deal with. Those Dark Shards with shields are actually quite hard to kill with just peasant archers. I guess I could try to focus fire them this time, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So the other tiebreaker is what? Attack Speed Enjoyer versus Pope Patty. So we'll see how that goes. Dang, bro, Navigator didn't even make it to top 4. That's crazy. People are amping it up. We actually have a lot of big signups. I think Turin talking about hosting the grand finals is starting to like rile up the multiplayer community. Very fun to see. So we get loads of signups. And Attack Speed and Jory won. So they're going to be facing each other. Hell yeah. The Popo are here. Now, can it be Danikin's Dark Elves with Batonia? This is what I'm saying when I feel like Batonia might be an A-tier faction. If they're going to be one of my S-tier factions for the grand finals, I need to be like crushing him, you know? It has to be like my Wood Elves versus Dark Elves. But we'll see. Maybe I just have to micro a bit better. I should have a huge range advantage here, right? But we'll see. I think this map is better for me than the last map. So that'll be a nice little advantage. Just the Cold One Knights, though. If my Questing Knights don't win versus Cold One Knights, we're screwed. Remember, he has his passive, too. As soon as that triggers, life gets very awkward. But we'll see. So I got some skirms over here on the flank side. They can capture a point. I've gone way less hard on the Mounted Yeomen. I think the Mounted Yeomen last time were a bit of a mistake. It has been remedied. We're also going to have to dodge the Pendulum a little smarter, right? So that means we're just going to do this. Huzzah! It's done. All right. Otherwise, it's not too much that I gotta do. It's yeah, it's just a normal game, right? Ready, good luck, have fun. And he's ready. Always a joy to play against Anakin. Gives me a run for my money every time. Has a high Beastmaster with a little bit of a net ability. Okay. Sorcerer's Shadows. Has the Melkoths and Pendulum. Overall, nothing too crazy. I'd say this is a fairly normal game. I do have the Field Trebuchet that we could summon in, but he's using the tree line to his advantage. So it's probably not the best of ideas. Just gotta dodge with Alberic. Smidge. Gonna take a little bit of damage with the Scourge Runners. Mounted Yeomen are pretty good at bullying them. Alberic only takes a little bit of damage. And overall, I'd say it's an okay situation. I'll let him get onto this point first. And then I'll summon the Trebuchet. See what we can get done there. I should be able to control the space fairly well, at least. Looks like I really do just need the 2 Yeoman Archers to deal with the Scourge Runners. They're actually doing rather well by the looks of it. And with a little bit of a heal, a little bit of anti-large from Alberic, maybe we catch him. Oh, he netted them. I see. Well, that actually makes him use his Tormentor Sword. That's pretty jokes. And huzzah, we have our thingamajig. So he should not be able to shut down this Trebuchet. It is in a extraordinarily safe position. Trebuchet does not care. At least in theory. So it'll be able to take him to Pound Town ever so slightly. We get a pretty nice charge on the chariots too. Remember, the Yeomen are way cheaper. So this is a rather nice trade for us. Of course, we have our cavalry lying in wait. He does have a Medusa, though. Medusa's kind of sus. Again, we use archers to kill the Medusa. I almost forgot about my Grail Relics. Ouch. Alright. She's gonna be dancing around a little bit, getting a few pot shots in. He's gonna be able to, yeah, he's getting a few shots. He misses one of them. Gets a pendulum down. We're gonna dodge it decently. And it looks like he just wants to take the main fight. Okay, that's not too bad. We'll get in our questing knights. Alberic is overextending like a mad lad. Gets netted. Oh no, not like this. Knights of the Ebon Claw on him. That's not good. That's not good. Alright, so yeah. We might have thrown Alberic. Knights of the Ebon Claw are all over his face. That's a big misplay. That's a very big misplay and a half. Thankfully, Alberic's Chad, so he's gonna be mostly chilling. Mostly. We're gonna get a charge on the Knights of the Ebon Claw. I guess that's okay. But yeah, that might have just thrown me the entire game. It may have. Alberic could very well live here. You never know. I did get a pretty nasty charge on the Knights. Alberic is still alive. He's still alive. Gonna get a sick heal there for him. You know, we have the anti-large. Maybe it was bait this whole time. You never know. It's pretty nice bait, right? We have a halberds here on his cab. That's good. Alberic is still alive. He's still alive. Okay. Value trading is terrible for us, though. It's absolutely garbage. I am not a fan of the value trading. The Knights of Ebon Claw, though, are actually almost dead. They're almost dealt with. I guess that's a plus. But can I win any of these calf fights? I have a lot of archers that are just not doing much. Holy crap, Alberic lived though. And against all odds, he lives. All right. Now, it did put me in a terrible situation. I'm not comfortable here at all. And we're likely going to down trade pretty hard in a second. But Alberic lived. And we killed his caster. So I guess that's okay. Have a couple archers here. We have more knights we can summon in. Alberic. He's still alive. He's still doing okay there. We got a trebuchet hit in. That's cool, I guess. And most of my archers have rallied in the backfield. So I guess it's okay, but the value trading is terrible for me. I don't think there's any way we're pulling back this value deficit unless the healing is actually hidden OP. But Alberic just does not really have the mass here to survive this. Medusa's gonna be a little bit of a problem. Any way we can get this guy out of here? Well, Medusa's getting caught up a little bit, I guess. Okay, there we go. A little heal. Little Alberic wind spell on the infantry there. Maybe we kill off the Medusa. Who knows? Ouch. He takes a hit. He's still alive. He's still alive. And we'll get in some cav. Yeah, we're just army wiped though, right? That's just a terrible fight. Dang, because I didn't want to commit to the fight. I wanted to shoot him with my archers and play defensively. But because I had to YOLO my cav to save Alberic, we just kind of screwed ourselves. We just kind of screwed ourselves. And now his chariots are popping off. The Medusa's actually a really nice touch, by the way. How much did these guys get? Paid for themselves? Yeah, they paid for themselves so well. Clearing off my infantry. Alberic's gone. I have essentially nothing left. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about... I don't know. If I was playing defensively, we would have been... It would have been way better, right? It just doesn't feel like my stuff really trades well. We got a big mosh pit. His infantry kind of does better. My archers are kind of middling in terms of their damage. The trebuchet didn't do anything. Yeah. I'm not really... I don't know if I feel this matchup. This could actually be Dark Elf favored if they play it right. I really do like the Medusa tech. Alright, GG. GG, well played. Danican takes the rematch. Very, very decisive win. But that's what happens when you make a misplay. I do think the Yeomen are good. I think the Yeomen are really nice. Spec slot for finals, please. I think I'm gonna bring Bretonia down a notch, though. I'm moving them down to my B tier factions. I think my top factions are gonna be Slanesh, Norska, Ogres, Wood Elves, and Empire. But Bretonia doesn't feel nearly as strong. Polearms were actually pretty nice, though. They did quite well. But yeah, I guess it would have been close. It would have been close. I don't really think I had a solution for the Medusa, though, right? I think almost no matter what I do, the Medusa's just gonna farm me, because she can always dodge the archers. It's very easy to get pot shots off with her. Let's take a look at the roster. Isn't Lewin better? I think Lewin and Alberic are fairly similar. I don't think they make or break it. If we're talking slight efficiencies, it could be a Lewin, but yeah. Oh yeah, there's Warriors of Chaos. I think Warriors of Chaos is another one of my A tier factions. But yeah, it doesn't feel like there's much I can do to stop him from just bullying me, right? We're just getting shot to death. Never really played multiplayer. What is the worst faction in multiplayer, in my opinion? Skaven. Cavalry got buffed for all factions a while ago, but Skaven don't have any cavalry. And unlike dwarves, they're very susceptible to cavalry. So they just kind of get run over nowadays. But yeah, I think we'll probably drop Bretonia based on how they did today. It would be too much learning. We will practice other factions instead. All right, here we go. Spec slot time. Oh, okay. Looks like the other match has not actually started yet. Apparently they're busy with something. So I guess we'll spectate. Lewin lets you bring non-healing magic. Oh yeah, that's true. So you're saying we bring Lewin and then I like Flock of Doom the Dark Elves to death or something? I think Flock of Doom could be really hype for bullying their cavalry just enough. I could see that. Is there any other magic that would do well versus Dark Elves? I still don't know what you're supposed to do versus Medusa, though. Medusa seems like it's so good. I don't know, man. The Medusa is... What am I supposed to do against it? Yeah, Medusas are quite strong. Usually the solution would be a gunpowder or maybe a skirmish unit. I don't know how the Human would have done against the Medusa though. Seems kind of sus. This is the other semifinal. Attack speed enjoyer. Something came up. Also our match was just so fast that that we can actually spectate this. They get staggered super hard by arrows. Oh, okay. So what, do I just spam a million archers to get them to aggress towards me? If you go for a ludicrous number of archers, I'm still worried that he'd be able to push in with the chariots. Because unless I'm winning the cav fights, it just kind of feels bad. Looks like there was a disconnect. Okay, it's buggy. Alright, super buggy game. We're gonna have them rehost. Very glitchy. Desync. Yeah, there's a desync of some sort. But yeah, I think if Danican micros the Medusa well, which he definitely can, there's not a lot I can really do. And as long as it's moving, it won't get the stagger animation. So I don't think I would have enough DPS to actually yeah, I don't think I would have enough to just shoot it to death. I think you would have to kind of get a sick Russian. So you just like, you push in with a bunch of cav, but I just can't win the cav fight against him. He's really good at pulling in infantry to support cav engagements, and he's on the defender side. Medusa doesn't have fire and moving. It has a really short time to shoot. So what you do is you just move it, you fire right as it's facing the right direction, and then you immediately move it again. It's pretty easy to move and shoot as long as the shooting time is fast. So we'd be getting kited almost no matter what. Maybe a Manticore summon. I'd say Manticore summon is okay. It would still involve a big fight though, and I don't really fancy the big fight versus Dark Elves. I do think I might want to still go for 4 Archer Yeomen though. They seem pretty hype because they can just park wherever they need to be and just pepper the Dark Elves. If there was a solution, it would be that. But that's basically all I got. I wish Betonia had like a cannon or something. Some cannons would make it go super well for me. Won't the Green Knight deal with the Medusa? Yeah, but he has a lot of Doom Bolts, and the rest of my army would be weaker for it. We need a solution to deal with the Knights, and I think taking Lewin is the best suggestion I've seen yet. Because Lewin can kill cavalry, and it lets me bring Flock of Doom. I could see that working it well. But anyways, we'll see how this goes. Quad Ambusher, alright. We got an Ice Witch. We got Hailstorm, Hawks of Miska. A Zargard once again. Which might actually do well against this specific High Elf build. As it's just 2 Spearmen and Shadow Warriors. As we saw earlier, Zargard. Oh, these are the anti-infantry Zargard. Okay, so that's slightly less effective. They'll be good against stuff like White Lions. Shadow Warriors, though, it's going to be a little bit more sus. Doom Divers, but they use peasants as ammunition. That would also be acceptable. But yeah, this is interesting. So we have 2 kite builds versus each other. How fun. In the early editions, Betonia had cannons. Dang. But yeah, we got a Teclis here. He has Flock of Doom, Regrowth, Sword of Teclis. What do we got? Some early pot shots on the Zargard is already farming value. It's going to be rather painful. You got to keep them alive to clear off any high elf infantry that gets summoned. Playing really aggressively with the archers here. Are we going to see a big play? One Shadow Warrior is not retreating. I don't know if they got netted yet. Did they use their net? No. So potentially they could net this Shadow Warrior, and that would be a huge value pick. But maybe he doesn't need it. Holy crap. Shadow Warrior is getting blitzed by the ambushers. All right, that's pretty high. Didn't get a lot of pot shots with the armored Cossars, but a good amount of deeps overall. Flock of Doom on the ambushers is good though. They have a decent amount of HP. So unless he gets cavalry on them, the Flock of Doom won't really pay dividends. Oh, but it was a power ant. So extra spell mastery. But look at this. It doesn't actually kill entities. So there's still 90 entities for these guys. However, the skirmishers will probably get more value on them, right? If these Shadow Warriors ever bully them. It's pretty painful though for the High Elves. Kislev is quite resistant to kite, with silver shielded armored Cossars, lots of cavalry, and even a little bit of kite themselves. They're pretty comfortable here. Dervishes getting charged by Dragon Princes, warded back, but they actually do take the fight. Are we going to see some ambusher support? This would be a huge value pick if it works. Pack Trap is dropped, so there's no dodging. Disengages with the Dervishes. This could be real bad. Pack Trap does not last very long, but the Dragon Princes lose half of their HP to the initial volley of the ambushers. That's painful. Absolutely painful. Oh, and the not being micro. Oh no, the Dragon Princes. He gets another Flock of Doom. Gets a volley off on the ambushers. Kills off a few entities. But that's a 1,400 gold unit down the drain. Completely and utterly dead. Maybe a regrowth will save them, but they've lost so many entities, they might just be done for. Oh my god, are they gonna rout? Oh, don't tell me so. Oh, they get routed. Brutal. Misplays left, right, and center. F. Yeah, F Dragon Princes. Bro, that's like the most expensive unit he can field. Now he's saving up for another Dragon Prince, I believe. So we may see some plays there. The Fireborn are already on the battlefield, so what's he gonna summon? Some Silver Helms. Dervishes are coming in though. A lot of the Kislev force is idling on the points though, trying not to overextend. But that means that these guys will be getting overwhelmed, right? A lot of, yeah, some Dervishes are getting bullied. We're gonna see a hailstorm over here, maybe. These ambushers are a little exposed too. We could see some light cavalry get summoned to shut them down. And there it is. A ranger and an Illyrian reaver. Hailstorm did okay damage, but the big loss now is going to be on those ambushers. If these guys get shut down, it's pretty bad. The infantry over here are not close enough to really support, and there's no cavalry to speak of. To lose these ambushers would be to lose losing the value that was gone earlier by killing the dragon princes. Each one of these guys costs 850 gold, and this one costs like 1,150, I think. They are all going down pretty hard. The flocks of doom paying dividends. Pretty big play. Attack speed enjoyer saving up for the ambush, baiting his opponent too far forwards, and now vengeance for the dragon princes has been achieved. Still though, Kislev has a double cap. This army over here is a little weak sauce. Teclis overcast another flock of doom. He's taken some damage. Does he have a heal? He doesn't have the self heal. He does have fiery convocation, but if he gets low enough, maybe we'll see another caster snipe. Is he on a horse? Not on a horse. Okay. Kislev's quite hardy though. But look at that. Ambushers are killed to the last. There's basically none of them left. I think there's only one left, and that's a really big loss for the Kislev force. I would say they were in a really good advantage a second ago, but the ambushers again taken out is really bad. It brings it back to slightly favored for the high elves. A really nice Hawks of Miska though. Spell casting, one of the most important things in this game. Doesn't rout off the rangers, however, but they are really low leadership now. And the cavalry, silver helms, will be routed off by the winged lancers. Get pretty solid charge. That's going to clean up the cavalry. Cavalry advantage is actually in the favor of Kislev right now, having summoned in 2 more winged lancers and a hailstorm on the reavers and dragon princes. If they can use their cavalry advantage effectively in this late game situation, I think Kislev can still pull it back. But a high HP Teclis is nothing to scoff at. A lot of the infantry are not really pushing through though. Spearmen do not kill armored Kossars. Neither do light cavalry. The winged lancers are in, though the Fireborn could potentially get some good picks here. Fireborn are the armor-piercing anti-large cavalry for the high elves. And if they cook hard enough, they will definitely win it. Winged lancers getting obliterated by a Fireborn charge, and there's no magic to punish them. In the center line, armored Kossars are still fighting, but on the right flank, Kislev is beginning to pull a little bit of an advantage. They still have the double cap too, so if the fighting stays extraordinarily even, this will go the way of the Kislevites. But the Fireborn have the work cut out for them, right? They already have 188 kills. They've already paid for themselves, but they're gonna have to do a little bit more to actually win this game. There is a white line, a line chariot for cleanup duty though, but it doesn't really participate in the cav fight. And the cav fight is where the late game is gonna go. Chariots clear off the Kislev infantry. High elves have no infantry, so that's all it's gonna be. Lion chariots are moving on in. Zargard are actually still alive too. Both sides have been spending their money, though it looks like a Griffin Legion might be summoned in very soon. I think attack speed enjoyer is getting the slightly better cav charges though. Dervish gets caught up, and now I would expect the infantry to begin to suffer. There's still no magic either. No hailstorm for the Fireborn. That's all it really takes. One solid hailstorm and it's over. But it seems like the magic might be low. Usually we see a lot of hailstorms. Maybe there was an overcast Miska. Not entirely sure. But many of the Kislevite infantry units are getting routed off now. Looks like the high elves are starting to actually pull ahead in terms of trading, but Kislev is actually capturing the far point very slowly with some dervishes. They get a pretty solid charge here. What is this? Griffin Legion. Okay. Massive damage to the silver helms, but a flock of doom drops and the Fireborn look like they want to get a rear charge. There's no money for the Kislevites, and there's quite a bit for the high elves right now. If they don't get a pullback here, if they don't shut down the cavalry, it's gonna be bad. Caster might be getting knocked down by the chariots. He does get a hailstorm. Is it the money hailstorm though? It's a Miska. It's a Miska on the Fireborn. Oh my god. Holy crap, he did have access to hailstorm, but that does not do damage to the Fireborn. Very surprised to not see a hailstorm. Unless he was casting it somewhere else and we missed it, but that did nothing, man. Absolutely nothing. Oof. Absolutely oof. Oh, convocation hit? I totally missed it. That's probably how all the infantry died. But it looks like attack speed enjoyer just has to carry out by capturing tickets, right? Late game is a little sus, and there is a Phoenix Guard, which is potentially a throwing situation. They will be able to capture points, but they're really slow. So if they get ignored all game, that could be pretty sus. But seriously, if we don't see a hailstorm on these Fireborn, there's no way. There's no way they're gonna die. Kislev cavalry do not really have a lot of armor piercing, and they're just gonna cook. Flock of Doom drops. Goodbye cavalry. He's gonna capture the point on the high ground, but attack speed enjoyer wins on 2. Hailstorm finally drops. Gets a good amount of damage, but it actually friendly fires a lot too. And it looks like the Fireborn being babysat after losing the first Dragon Prince. Attack speed enjoyer locked in. And he decided, no, I am never losing another Dragon Prince ever again. These guys have been babysat to hell and back. So much healing. They're almost heal capped. And at 2,500 value, they are eating well today. Attack speed enjoyer now taking the center point. But the value trading, it says it's pretty close. Kislev's pretty dead though, right? Not a lot of units left. The only way they can pull back is if we see a really crazy cavalry blob that gets hailstormed. Then maybe the ambushers cook. But if they get shut down here, it's pretty over. We'll see though. Kislev has a decent amount of time, but not that much to pull back this much of a value deficit. I'd say it's very likely over for Kislev. But there's been some pretty big throws in the past. Good charge on the armored Gossars. Ambushers are back. Another hailstorm drops. There you go. That's hailstorm versus cavalry for you. Really surprised we didn't see it spammed on the Dragon Princes though. I feel like the Dragon Princes were asking to get hailstormed. Riz is a scary player. He's pretty scary. He's an up-and-coming Kislev player. He's gone to the semifinals and tiebreakers a couple times, I believe, in my tournaments. You definitely can feel the new playerage, right? You know, Lord getting overextended sometimes, but I think the core essentials are there. Like we're seeing some good builds, some good magic casting. I think the magic casting is actually really nice. But yeah, just like a few misplays here and there, right? A few big misplays will set you back. Like overextending with the skirmishers here, and then getting the not getting the Fireborn killed. This was definitely like the win condition for the high elves. But yeah, overall, they're making plays. Attack speed enjoyer wins up, gets a massive surround on the ambushers. They are no more, and the Kislevites are gone. Value trackers totally off. Don't believe it. The high elves are definitely a few thousand gold ahead right now. Yeah, risotto's not like spooky, you know, like I think risotto's definitely a really strong mid-tier player. We saw them beat Pontim's Claw, or now named Ponty. But yeah, as long as you can tease out some misplays, you'll be fine. Dragon Prince gets resummoned. This is the one that got shot to death at the beginning, I think. But yeah, attack speed enjoyer is like one of the top players. So attack speed enjoyer is one of the best players in the world. Definitely top 16. I would say top 8 for sure. And he's going to be facing against Danican. Good old Danican. Now, will Attack Speed Enjoyer have the chops to beat Daniken? I'm really interested to see how it plays out. We may be able to see some weaknesses in Daniken's armor and his crazy Cold One Knight play. We'll see. Judging by the win-loss, Lance formation turned out to not actually be good. It's okay. I would say Lance formation is not worth the micro, even for me. Like, I only make Lance formation work when I'm winning, you know? But when a player is really stressing me out and maxing out my micro, I just don't have enough for it. Anyways, great value for the Dragon Princes. Attack Speed Enjoyer with some really good Cav micro. The Ambushers were not able to pay for themselves. One of them did, two of them did, but the other two, not enough. Zargard were pretty cool, 400 value, but they were getting shot up. And the Zargard were pretty good, but I think Techless is getting so much value that game off the Flocks of Doom. Yeah, that's pretty rough. GG. Right. Stay for finals. And then, yeah. Daniken Spooky. He definitely has earned the Spooky title. I would say Daniken is favored if we're talking Dark Elves versus High Elves. Attack Speed Enjoyer. Let's see here. I think it's going to be a fairly standard game. If I had to guess how the next match is going to play out, it's going to be very close. Both sides are going to be tussling, going for some kite plays. But Daniken is barely going to squeeze out ahead with the Cav micro. I think Daniken will probably get some sick Cold One Night charges and then he'll win. But I'm interested to see. I would also love to see how Attack Speed Enjoyer deals with Medusa potentially. I think with nets and all the archers, killing Medusa is probably easier for the High Elves. But I don't know, man. I don't know. This will be fun. You notice some of the mods that show gold values could desync replays? That might be why we don't see casting with it. Oh, really? Huh, good to know. Risotto though made it to the semifinals. Faced up against Attack Speed Enjoyer. Got a sick play, but then lost a lot of value. Here's the big dogs though. Daniken versus Attack Speed Enjoyer. Who's gonna come out on top? I would say Daniken. Will he run Scourge Runners? So usually there is a High Elf counter to it. There's a lot of back and forth in this matchup actually. High Elves will spam Light Cavalry until the Chariots run out of ammo. And then they will try to win the later game engagements. They'll try to win the late game with a little bit of Cav micro, or they can kite, kind of like Wood Elves. They don't have the armor piercing like Wood Elves though, which makes them a lot weaker. Would you pay Charx $20 to access all of his replays to study him for the grand finals? Nah, I wouldn't pay $20 for that. I'll just beat him. I'll just beat him. I think we'll be fine. As long as I'm not playing my lesser factions. Today was good discovery. I think Petonia is one of my lesser factions. They might even be even lower than like Coast, Counts, High Elves, Beastmen, and Chaos. I didn't feel that strong with Petonia today. I feel like, yeah, I might not even bring Petonia for the grand finals now that I think about it. I think Slanesh, Norska, Ogres, Wood Elves, Empire, Coast, Counts, High Elves, Beastmen, and Chaos is more than enough. Beastmen is definitely a sketchy one to bring. I don't know if I really want to bring them either. I'm gonna put them down a tier actually. And Betonia, I'm just not gonna do it. They used to be a counter to elves in Warhammer 2. But I think since Cold One Knights can be resummoned and all that, and all the changes to balance, I don't think I can do it. Danican and Charix play a mean Betonia, but that ain't me. What finals? Turin's gonna be hosting a grand finals soon. We don't know when. He hasn't actually gone to date yet, but soon. As of recent, you've been doing really well on any factions with strong kite or high mobility. Yeah. Betonia's got the mobility, but not the kite. The thing is, a lot of the factions that I play, Betonia is actually quite strong against. Maybe I just suck with Betonia. They're a faction where you really have to babysit your lord, which I kind of goofed with. Don't Knights of the Realm with Braid clobber Cold One Knights? I think I did misplay pretty hard versus Danican. But I don't know, Maximilianer, is there a way you can actually beat a Medusa? I don't think there's a way you can beat a Medusa just poking you to death, and then you use Dark Shards to force the Bretonians into your backfield. I feel like the guy with the defender's advantage is gonna win, because they can secure charges and they'll have their infantry in position. Can Pegasus Knights counter cavalry? That's one thing that I think could do well, but with Melkoths on the field, I guess you would have healing. I do think there's a lot of ways to make the matchup more even, but it doesn't feel one-sided enough for me to take on Danican's main faction, right? If he's playing Dark Elves, I want to play Wood Elves or Empire or Slaanesh, right? Factions that will dumpster his main faction like no one's business and just make it not even close. Betonia can absolutely play against Dark Elves, but it's too much of a tussle. I need to make use of my huge faction diversity to do well. Hell, I could use Vampire Coast and they might actually be hard for Dark Elves. Especially because these are matchups that are traditionally good. So they're matchups that he'd also practice way more than me. So we'll leave Betonia as like maybe a counter pick. I think Warriors of Chaos is fine. Coast should actually be rather strong. Lore accurate battle, yeah, that should be pretty cool. High Elves versus Dark Elves. What a classic. Classic Warhammer 2. Everyone's gonna ban my Slaanesh though. Everyone's gonna ban my Slaanesh. I think after 2 grand final victories, where I always won as or against Slaanesh, it just makes sense. But at least I'll still have Norska, Ogres, Empire. To make sure I don't get counterpicked, I'll probably Ogres, Wood Elves, and Empire. Yeah, and knowing the undead is a huge dub. So that's my main advantage, as opposed to Danican and Charix, is that I have the undead factions at my disposal, which they do not play. Absolutely no undead on that front. So people will generally be like, okay, yeah, it's Charix, it's Danican, they're gonna kite. I just have to beat kite, and they can tune their builds towards them. But yeah. 3-2 win rate makes you feel worse about maining Betonia. The 2 losses was versus Danican, okay? He's literally the best Dark Elf player in the world, and he's playing Dark Elves. Alright. Betonia's strong, I swear. Then again, I beat Danican's Betonia with Vampire Coast. Are they low-key bad? Is Betonia actually a garbage faction being carried by high-level players? Maybe they do suck. I think the sign of a strong faction is if I'm power tripping so hard I start throwing games. And I didn't get that with Betonia. Hell, I got a little bit of that with Empire. I got loads of that with Wood Elves. Insane amounts with Ogres. Crazy amounts with Slanesh. Betonia felt okay. They felt like a faction. Like, they felt like a faction of all time. Quite predictable, yeah. You really only have Mantide. You can't really Cav Max as Betonia. The Skirmishers are good, though. Like, you can use Mounted Yeomen quite effectively. You forsaken Betonia for Warriors of Chaos and started winning more? Yeah. I think you can definitely, for a player as good as Charix or Danican, they can make use of Betonia because their cavalry micro is so good. And they can get them up to a point where they are competitive at the highest level. But the effort you have to put in to do that is not worth. And I think Warriors of Chaos is pretty comfy for me. A lot of people are starting to counter Warriors of Chaos, though. But I've had my eye on Aeson the Fallen Kite lately. Where you get Aeson the Fallen, you get 6 Skirmishers. And if they bring Skirmishers, you use his crazy ability to just melt their faces off. It's pretty jokes. I might want to explore that a bit more later. But it has to be good enough to beat Danican and Charix. When Betonia Lord say for the lady, I almost cheer for the lady. That's Betonia for you. This is a double Scourge Runner build. There are elite Dragon Princes on the field. Attack Speed and Joy will have to keep them safe. These are both very high level players. As strong as it gets, really. So we'll see. Who will win? What a unit. What's a unit that really... What's this? What a unit that is really mid and only needs a little buff to be good? Or God? Like God tier or good? I assume you mean good. There's a lot of units that are surprisingly close to being very meta. There's a lot of times when CA buffs a unit by a very small margin and suddenly everyone's playing them. So there's probably a ton that could just use like a 50 gold price reduction. And then they're OP. But let's see. Attack Speed Enjoyer has a bunch of archers, some Lothid Sea Guard, some Fireborn, alright, some Reavers, some Rangers. Overall, pretty chill. It's a lot of ranged. He's saying, hey, you gotta fight on my side of the battlefield, alright? You think you're gonna kite me? I'm gonna shoot you to death. Very little infantry, actually, overall. There's, like, basically none. This will be awkward. Well, yeah, there's basically no infantry over here. Interesting. Over on the far side, we got the chariots. We got the Marath. Soul Stealer, Power of Darkness, Wand of Coridon. Can be dodged by a L'Oreal, by the way. But there's no L'Oreal today. And a Bolt Thrower. Now immediately, the Shades assassinate the front line of Rangers. 3 of them go down. A very small pickings. Takes out 4 total. 5 total. That's a decent amount of poke, but it's not enough to really change the course of the game. Kills 6. The capture point will be going in the favor of the Dark Elves. Very slowly, though. On the far side, some Reavers getting shot up by Scourge Runners. Now, this is generally inefficient, but the Scourge Runners have to shoot at something. So if Reavers are in range, that's what they're going to do. Now, this is an interesting situation, though, right? Ooh, some nice dodging from Danican. What we have here... Oh, he used Power of Darkness on the Bolt Thrower. Cool. Is we have a very strong mid-range army with no long range and no melee. The Dark Elves have opted for a little bit of a longer range tool to get some pokins in, and he has summoned the Medusa. So to everyone that says that archers are good versus Medusas, we will see. Wand of Koraidon snipe on the Teclis. He has regrowth in case of an emergency. He'll likely be fine. But will the Medusa be countered? This is kind of Dandakan's tool to deal with all these mid-range shooters. Medusa is in range. Let's take a look at the Hokey Poke. He basically brings a Medusa in to beat these kind of archer-based factions. And shot number 1. Lots of deeps. Rangers not looking too good. Melkoth's on the Fireborn. Overall, Dandakan making plays. He's taken essentially no damage. And he's done quite a bit. Medusa doesn't dodge the arrows though, so she actually takes a lot of damage. Quarter HP down, not the best. Medusa does not have access to any missile resist. And the net of Amitab. I guess that'll solve it. Stagger animation. Not gonna help too much. Arrow volleys are coming on in. Still 6 seconds of net. Medusa's taking some heat, though she probably won't die from this situation. So the net's gone. Is Dandakan gonna move her though? Doesn't move the Medusa. Rare misplay from Dandakan. Doesn't even care. Lets her die. Gets a bit of damage off with the Web of Shadows, Soul Stealer. Looks like a sniping attempt on Teclis is coming in. Medusa will live. Dragon Princes are on the chariots though, and a dodge of the big spell. Overall, still anyone's game. High Elves managed to get a lot of value there with a big pick. A little bit of a misplay on Dandakan's side, but Teclis is suffering. I think he actually overcast, or no, he just got shot. Dang, the regrowth is really not helping him very much. Web of Shadow is doing a lot of damage. Looks like he will be able to rally, but very injured, and he had to use some magic, so that's less Flock of Dooms. This is a problem though. So Dragon Princes have made their way all the way to the backfield. There you go though. Sick Cold One Night charge. Brutalizing them. Medusa's back too. She'll be a really good late game tool if she can use up her ammunition. And ouch! Oh, the humanity. Dragon Prince is getting mulched by the Cold One Knights. Teclis! Holy smokeroos! Teclis just got doom bolted. And he's running for the hills. Marathi making a big play. That's a pretty big swing play, actually, for Dandakan. Because Marathi's healthy. She can keep fighting. She got a huge Malkoths on the Dragon Princes. And the Cold One Knights are just gonna dumpster. These are no Fireborn. Teclis rallies though. Holy crap, what a chat. At 258. He's coughing up blood, but he's still going at it. Archers are pretty undefended though. With the overcommit of the Dragon Princes, we would expect Dandakan to start getting a cavalry advantage. Ticket wise, it's very close all the way around. And the Medusa is now back in the action. Maybe it was bait. Maybe he wanted to drain the ammo of the High Elves. It was probably a misplay though. Medusa, she does have anti-large in melee. If she lives and uses up all her ammunition, she can technically kill all these guys, by the way. So she's definitely a high priority target for the High Elves. And they don't have a lot of tools to deal with her. Look at the double Canine Assassins. The chillin'. Oh, and the passive triggers right as the Dark Elves are in the midst of a big fight. That's basically perfect for them. What are we gonna see to come back? Fireborn get charged by Cold One Knights. Not a pretty situation. This used to be Dark Elf favorite before, because they were just so good at winning cav fights. Fireborn are dead. Cold One Knights cooking. Murderous Prowess increases your damage by a lot. Increases your melee attack, your leadership, and your vigor. And this is going pretty bad. Teclis gets shattered by a random spear unit. And I don't think there's much left. This is looking extraordinarily bad. Dandakan gets his Medusa netted, doesn't even matter. Just gets a big push in. Giga over, yeah. Doombolt, yeah, Doombolt's banned, but Wand of Koraidon is not. Marathi only has 2 casts of it, so it's not technically Doombolt. Terran knows about it, and he says it's fine. God dang! All right, well there you go. No Doomfire Warlocks. But yeah, it's not Doombolt. It's Wand of Koraidon. GG! Well played. Congrats to Danican for the win. Congrats on the win. All right. I'm gonna message both players. I think it'd be great to get some best of 9s against them. Let's take a look. Scourge Runners. They actually didn't get that much value. It was mostly just shutting down the Dragon Princes so hard. Danican has a way of getting his Cold One Knights where they want to be, despite their rather slow speed. Doombolt at home deployed. Yeah. Yo, Marathi cooked. 2,600. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. It was all just the Cold One Knights cleaning up, wasn't it? And then just a swift charge of all these archers. They really didn't get a chance to fall back either, which is kind of what you want to do with this. Crazy. Season finals. Season finale is no, it's not Sunday. I think Turin's just setting up a new season. But the actual finals, we don't know when. Alright, so attack speed enjoyer has some tech issues, so we'll have to wait. Will Danican be interested in the best of 9? Play tomorrow then. 1 p.m. EST. Same time as my tourneys. Nice. And it's scheduled. Alright. Gonna get a best of 9 versus Danican. Oh boy. Now, historically, I've won my best of 9s against Danican. But they always end up being super close. First one went 5-4. The next one went 5-3. But I was expecting to lose the last game if I didn't beat them. So effectively 5-4. It's quite pitched. And that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Techless Castfire Invocation, but it missed. It missed. Gonna make Demons of Chaos highest win rate in the new season. Maybe we'll go for Skaven. Nah. I don't want to go through that business again. Anyways, we'll be facing Danican tomorrow. On Friday, I might take a break. I might take a day off. But to all of you, I hope you guys had a great time. We're calling it a day. I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Peace. And thank you very much to Clint, Tarek Talkleby, Pops, Miss New Booty, Thomas, Vitek, Calculandia, Steven Samorden, Charlie Benjo, Noble Naldor, and Organ Dorner for being our top tier supporters. Fingers crossed we can keep doing this forever. Fingers crossed.